Chapter 798. After completely recovering, Night Sorrow continued to move forward. Currently, he could see the towering heaven-sealing hall, but it was very blurry. It was still very far away. The space protective chi shield cut forward, and the nothingness protective chi shield melted forward. Yishang kept getting closer to the center of Haotian City. 2 hours later, Night Sorrow felt a change. The intensity of the spatial turbulence had decreased. This was a good sign. Night Sorrow continued to move forward. After another 2 hours, the spatial turbulence had completely disappeared. At this time night fell. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and smashed the space-time pagoda into the ground. Then he entered the pagoda. Night Sorrow, this place is extraordinary. I feel a suppression. The suppression comes from the center of the city. It's hard to say what's going on. Little Kong communicated with Night Sorrow. The first ancient sacred city. It's hard to predict what's going on. Let's go steadily. If there's danger, I'll use the spatial fissure and directly enter the spatial turbulence. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he began to cultivate. After an intense day of fighting, he was now improving his cultivation and calming his emotions. Inchi's heart also felt more at ease. After a day, Night Sorrow was fine. This meant that the problem was not big. He had survived what he needed to. After resting for a while, Night Sorrow walked out of the space-time pagoda at dawn. Dead City. What entered Yishang's eyes was a ghost town that had been eroded by the passage of time. The buildings were all dilapidated, and the area behind Yishang was empty because everything had been torn apart by the spatial turbulence. Night Sorrow slowly walked forward. Although he knew that there was still a distance to the center of the city, Night Sorrow did not want to fly. He came to Clear Sky City to investigate, so he could not miss anything. Night Sorrow walked slowly in the city. The chilly wind in the air made him feel uncomfortable. He felt that the operation of his soul was affected. When he looked up, he found that there were remnant souls in the wind. They were unconscious remnant souls that were growling. After that, Night Sorrow tried to activate his Heavenly Void Pearl. The Heavenly Void Pearl shone with a purple light. It lit up Night Sorrow's godly sea and forced the haze out of his mind. Lingering spirit Night Sorrow knew that these remnant souls were very strong when they were alive, but for some reason, they had lost their consciousness. Walking in the city, Night Sorrow saw skeletons and weapons that could no longer be used due to the erosion of time. Night Sorrow knew that these were weapons that were below rank 5. If they were spirit weapons, then they would not have been eroded by time. There were also some broken storage rings and some scattered spirit stones. They had already turned pale, and no longer contained any energy. Night Sorrow continued to walk through the city. Looking at the broken tiles, broken beams, and dilapidated skeletons, Night Sorrow's heart was very heavy. All of this told Night Sorrow about the tragedy of the war. After traveling 1,000 miles, Night Sorrow rested. He found that as he moved forward, the traces of the spatial storm were getting smaller and smaller. However, more and more people died in battle. Night Sorrow still did not see any resources. It seemed that there was nothing other than skeletons. He felt that this should not be the case. With so many people dying in battle, it was impossible for there to be no resources. Night Sorrow continued to move forward and investigate. However, the reality was still the same. Some of the weapons looked very domineering, but when he touched them, they turned to dust. This situation made Night Sorrow understand. He felt that the weapons just now were spirit weapons, but their spirit chi had been sucked away. Cool. Night Sorrow then began to fly forward. All the weapons and spirit stones' energy had been sucked away. This was definitely not a coincidence. No matter how much he investigated, he would not find anything. Supreme Sky City was just too big. It was 7 or 8 times the size of Sky-Bearing City, Supreme Clarity City, and Dongxian City. Night Sorrow quickly flew for 4 hours before arriving at the center of the city. After landing, Night Sorrow saw an energy barrier emitting light. There were many corpses around the energy barrier. They were like moths flying into a flame. The surroundings were full of skeletons. In the middle of the energy barrier was a large hall that reached the clouds. There were 3 shining words in the hall. Heaven Sealing Hall. Looking at the energy barrier, Night Sorrow did not know what to do. This was because he could feel the power of the energy barrier. After standing in front of the energy barrier and pondering for a while, Night Sorrow circulated the energy of the myriad Tao Tome to protect himself. After that, he propped up the Nihility protective chi barrier and reached out to touch the energy barrier. When Night Sorrow's arm touched the energy barrier, the energy on the energy barrier circulated and instantly wrapped around Night Sorrow's body. However, it withdrew a moment later. Night Sorrow did not understand what was going on. This was because that powerful and incomparably terrifying energy barrier did not harm him. Night Sorrow's arm was now within the energy of the energy shield. Then Night Sorrow took a step forward, and half of his body entered the energy of the energy shield. After sensing it again and confirming that the energy barrier did not harm him, Night Sorrow entered the energy barrier. Then he crossed several meters of energy and entered the energy barrier. Turning around, Night Sorrow looked at the energy barrier that did not have any effect. He was a little dazed. He was sure that this energy barrier was very strong. It would not have any difficulty killing a venerable, or even a saint. However, it did not make things difficult for him. Night Sorrow touched the energy barrier again, and found that this terrifying energy barrier did not care about him at all. It did not have any intention of responding to him. Young man, the energy barrier was built with the 9 regions origin energy as the foundation. Naturally, it will not harm the people of the 9 regions world. A voice entered Night Sorrow's ears, followed by a sigh. Who is hiding? Come out. Night Sorrow roared with the reincarnation spear in his hand. Fly forward. After flying for 100 miles, you will see me. The voice rang in Night Sorrow's ears again. Night Sorrow calmed down and felt that this voice made sense. This terrifying energy barrier did not harm him, which naturally meant that it recognized him as a person of the 9 regions world. This reason was very reasonable. Then, Night Sorrow flew forward and arrived at the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall in a moment. The Heaven-Sealing Great Hall gave Night Sorrow an oppressive aura. At this moment, Night Sorrow felt that he was very small, like a grain of sand in the vast ocean. He felt like he was looking up at the sky. Night Sorrow circulated the energy of the myriad Tao Tome and straightened his body. He did not like the feeling of being unable to stand straight. At this moment, a figure appeared 30 feet in front of Night Sorrow. It was a middle-aged man in a white robe who was sitting cross-legged. The middle-aged man had shoulder-length hair, and his eyes were filled with the vicissitudes of life. At this moment he was sizing up Night Sorrow. Young man of the 9 regions world, not bad. For 10,000 years, I have hoped to meet the people of the 9 regions world. I was also worried about meeting the people of the 9 regions world. Today, I still have to face them. The middle-aged man's voice entered Night Sorrow's ears, but his lips did not move. Chapter 799. There's no need to panic or be surprised. What you saw was a soul clone supported by a strand of my soul. There's not much time left, so I'll tell you the details and what you need to do, said the middle-aged man to Night Sorrow. While Night Sorrow was still in a daze, the middle-aged man began to tell him some things that no one knew. The middle-aged man was the Clear Sky Sacred King, who had been the city lord of Clear Sky City 10,000 years ago. However, he had fallen in the Godseal battle. That battle had been particularly tragic, and the flames of war had spread throughout the 9 regions. A peak expert from another world had pierced through the 9 regions world, shattering it. The 9 regions world had been pierced through, because that expert had wanted to collect the 9 regions world's origins. The 9 regions world's origins had been shattered into 10 pieces. 9 of them had flown to the 9 continents, while the other had been collected by that expert. The result of the 9 regions world being pierced through was chaotic space. If it wasn't dealt with, the 9 regions world would be swallowed by the chaotic space. At that time, the Central Continent Saint King and Clear Sky Saint King were fighting side by side in Clear Sky City. Together, they used all of their cultivation and used a great method to move Clear Sky City to the area where the 9 domain world was pierced, suppressing the spatial turbulence. After moving Clear Sky City, the Central Plains Sacred King had died, and Clear Sky Sacred King's vitality had been greatly damaged. In order to stabilize the suppression, Clear Sky Sacred King had used his essence blood and spiritual strength to set up the 1000 Derivation Grand Formation to seal the shattered space. At the same time, He had also set up an energy barrier with the 9 regions world's origins as its core. The 9 regions world's origins energy barrier was the core of the 1000 derivation grand formation, the Heaven Sealing Palace. Senior, what do you need me to do? Night Sorrow was filled with admiration for the clear sky sacred king. It could be said that he had fallen to such a state because of the 9 regions world, and only a strand of his soul remained. Clear Sky City has appeared. That means the suppression is no longer stable. We need to stabilize the suppression. We need the 9 regions world's people to work hard, said Clear Sky Sacred King to Night Sorrow. I came here to know about this. This is my destiny. Tell me. As long as I can do something for the 9 regions world, I'll pay any price. Night Sorrow sighed. He knew that if he wanted to stabilize the suppression, he would have to pay a huge price. However, as a citizen of the 9 territories, he could not avoid it. Is life okay? Clear Sky Saint King's voice entered Night Sorrow's ears. Haha, although I have many regrets, and although I feel that life has just begun, since this is my fate, I will accept it. Night Sorrow nodded. Haha, with someone like you from the 9 regions, it was worth it for us 3 Saint Kings to fight to the death. Young man, you did not disappoint me, the Clear Sky Saint King said. My abilities are limited. I can't compare to Senior, but I won't run away from what I should do and what I should bear, Night Sorrow said. You won't lose your life. The reason why the 1000 derivation great formation isn't stable is because my soul can't hold on any longer. It's about to disperse. I can't control and protect this great formation anymore. Since you're here, you'll replace me. If you give up something, you'll gain something. You'll definitely gain something from this decision, said Hao Tian Saint loudly. Clear Sky Saint King then told Night Sorrow that as long as Night Sorrow cultivated a spiritual clone, he could go to the Heaven Sealing Palace to guard it. The downside was that Night Sorrow's spiritual clone would never be able to leave the Heaven Sealing Palace. That was a loss, but the gain was even greater. As long as Night Sorrow's spiritual clone remained in the Heaven Sealing Palace, it would never die. In other words, even if my true body dies, this clone won't die. Night Sorrow was startled. That's right, I can't do that because I'm just a strand of my soul, not a soul clone. But you can do it, and that's not even the most heaven-defying part. The most heaven-defying part is that you left some essence blood for the Heaven Sealing Great Hall to refine with your soul clone. Your soul clone is no different from your original body. It can even be said that if your soul is strong enough, you can cultivate a soul clone. Hao Tian Saint King's words stunned Yishang. You can do that. Night Sorrow was shocked. That's because there's a limit to cultivating a spiritual clone. Otherwise, you could rely on your true body to continuously cultivate spiritual clones, said Clear Sky Saint King enviously as he looked at Night Sorrow. Then why didn't Senior do that before you died? Asked Night Sorrow. It wasn't in any danger before, so how could it be obedient? Now that it knows the 9 regions are in danger of being destroyed, it knows how to cooperate, said Clear Sky Saint King. You still dare to speak ill of me? It's your incompetence that led to this situation. A mighty voice rang out, shaking Yishan so much that he had to take 2 steps back before he could stabilize himself. Hashtag the Tnet item spirit? Night Sorrow was shocked. No, the Heaven Sealing Palace is a special way for the 9 regions' essences to manifest themselves. Just now, the 9 regions' essences were reprimanding me. But since my soul is about to dissipate, it's fine if I'm reprimanded, said Clear Sky Saint King. I've cultivated a spiritual clone before, but it's still far from forming. I don't know when it'll form. If it's too late, then I can only enter with my true body. If I can't leave, then so be it, said Night Sorrow as he looked at the ice silk bag on his waist. Even if you haven't cultivated it, there's still time. Now do as I say. Take out a container and release some essence blood. Throw the medium that contains your spiritual clone into it. Then you don't have to worry about it, said Clear Sky Saint King to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow took out a spirit jade pillar and cut off a section. Then, he waved his reincarnation spear and made a deeper container. Then he slashed his left wrist with the reincarnation spear. Night Sorrow's attack only left a white mark on his left wrist. What is going on with you? Your essence energy has soared into the clouds. Your body is much stronger than my subordinate, the Fist Emperor Li Feng. Sacred King Clear Sky, who was observing Yi Shang, noticed that there was something extraordinary about Yi Shang's body. Yes, I cultivate my body. Knight Sorrow held the reincarnation spear and poured all his energy into it. Then he slashed his left wrist again. This time, a wound opened and Knight Sorrow's blood flowed into the jade container. At this time, Knight Sorrow's blood was red with traces of gold. It was very different from ordinary blood. Even the blood from the five-clawed pterosaur's heart couldn't be compared to his blood. After a while, a lot of Knight Sorrow's blood was stored in the jade container. Looking at his blood, Knight Sorrow untied the ice silk bag on his waist. Then he took out the Void Dao stone that contained his spiritual clone, and looked at Clear Sky Saint King. Don't hesitate. Quickly put it in, urged Clear Sky Saint King. Knight Sorrow nodded and put the Void Dao stone into the jade container. Then he took 2 steps back. Chapter 800. Haha, alright. Even if this king's remnant soul dissipates now, this spatial hole's suppression won't be a problem. Now it's up to you, said the Clear Sky Sacred King. You don't need time? Asked Knight Sorrow. The Heaven Sealing Hall will help you deal with it. The broken region will also be firmly suppressed. If there's anything else you don't understand, you can ask, said the Clear Sky Sacred King. I want to know who attacked our 9 regions world and what their goal is. Knight Sorrow took out a spirit jade stool and sat down. This is a long story, and it might be very stressful for you. Take your time to digest it, said the Clear Sky Sacred King. In the vast starry sky, there were 3,000 small worlds. Whether they were destroyed or born, they were all fated. Each world was on a different level. The 9 regions world was an ordinary world. Of course, it didn't have the qualifications to be called a world. 7 Look at Z. A chapter P. The 9 regions world was a subsidiary world of the Profound Heaven world. The Profound Heaven world was thousands of times larger than the 9 regions world. The Profound Heaven world had hundreds of subsidiary worlds like the 9 regions world. 50,000 years ago, the 9 regions world had still been a primitive world. Because of a huge battle in the Profound Heaven world, several sects and families had been defeated. The ancestors of those sects and families had broken through the world barrier and come to the 9 regions world to live. But no matter how they developed, they could never catch up to the Profound Heaven world. And the enemies of those sects and families had treated the 9 regions world as a place to raise materials. Every once in a while, they would carry out a massacre and take away the saint crystals of the 9 regions world's cultivators, using them as resources to raise their descendants. This period of time was 10,000 years. Every 10,000 years, there would be a massacre. The last time the enemy had come, they had discovered that the 9 regions world source was still intact. It was a greater threat to them, so they had sent out even stronger experts to destroy the 9 regions world source. There was a great war 10,000 years ago. That means it won't be long before they start killing again. Knight Sorrow's face was filled with shock. Yes, the time is near, but it is hard to say exactly when. Right now, all we can do is stabilize the 9 regions world. If someone with great luck can refine the space origin or the small world's core, they can repair this hole in space. Then the 9 regions world will have a chance to unite again. However, this is just a theory, Clear Sky Saint King said to Knight Sorrow. I entered a minor world and obtained its core, but I was unable to refine it, said Knight Sorrow. What did you say? You have the world's origin. The Clear Sky Saint King stood up, his eyes filled with shock. Yes, show me. Knight Sorrow roared, and used all his energy to activate his heavenly fate jewel. After this period of hard work, Knight Sorrow was just barely able to activate his heavenly fate jewel. Following Knight Sorrow's activation, the heavenly fate jewel appeared between his eyebrows. It revolved once before returning to Knight Sorrow's divine sea. The void attribute is actually a supreme attribute. There's hope for our 9 regions world. Clear Sky Saint King's body trembled with excitement. Senior, I don't know when I'll be able to refine it, said Knight Sorrow. Don't worry. You're a mid-level venerable right now. Once you reach the saint realm, you'll definitely be able to refine it. At that time, you'll be able to control a world and fuse it with the heavenly fate jewel. Then you'll be the ruler of the 9 regions world, an existence with supreme law energy. If they want to descend, haha, that's a joke, laughed the Clear Sky Saint King. At this moment, Night Sorrow sensed some spatial fluctuations. Night Sorrow even felt joy. That was the joy of the 9 regions world's origin. Brat, your karmic luck is really domineering. However, being able to pass through a spatial storm with just a mid-level venerable proves your strength, said the Clear Sky Saint King. It really isn't easy to talk about this. Originally, I was planning on coming to Clear Sky City to look for opportunities, to find a cultivation technique inheritance, and to get a title in the Heaven Sealing Palace. Who would have thought I'd meet Senior and learn so much? Said Night Sorrow. If you want an inheritance, I have it. Later, my inheritance will be yours, said the Clear Sky Saint King. I'm really lacking a cultivation technique, because my current chi cultivation technique can only reach the saint level. After that, I don't have any more, said Night Sorrow. That's not a problem. My Clear Sky scripture can cultivate chi to the peak of the king realm. However, I don't have a body tempering inheritance. Back then my subordinate, the Fist Emperor Li Feng, cultivated the myriad Dao treasured tome. It was a secret tome that caused a storm of blood in the profound heaven world. However, after Li Feng died in battle, the secret tome is no longer available, said the Clear Sky Saint King. I'm currently cultivating the myriad Dao treasured tome. This myriad Dao treasured tome is the inheritance of the Fist Emperor Li Feng, said Night Sorrow in surprise. You're cultivating the myriad Dao treasured tome? That's not right. Back then, Li Feng's cultivation base was higher than yours, but his body wasn't as strong as yours, said the Clear Sky Saint King. Night Sorrow told the Clear Sky Saint King that he had grasped the power of desolates, and that the myriad Dao treasured tome had mutated. The power of desolates, that's the time attribute. Hee, you're truly the embodiment of the myriad Dao's love, said the Clear Sky Saint King as he looked at Night Sorrow. At that moment, Night Sorrow felt a change in his soul doppelganger. The energy it contained was rapidly increasing. He was worried that if he continued to strengthen it, his compatibility with his main body would decrease. Seeing Night Sorrow's frown, the Clear Sky Saint King asked. Night Sorrow told the Clear Sky Saint King about his feelings and worries. After that, the Clear Sky Saint King shook his head. He told Night Sorrow that he had taken his blood essence, so that his doppelganger would be no different from his main body in the future. He could even have descendants. The other reason was to increase the compatibility. Therefore, there was no need for Night Sorrow to worry. The Clear Sky Saint King then took out a spatial ring and handed it to Night Sorrow. However, he told Night Sorrow that other than a high-grade saint artifact sword and a cultivation technique inheritance, he didn't have anything else in his collection. It wasn't that the Clear Sky Saint King didn't have anything in his collection. It was just that he had used a special method to absorb all the spiritual chi and energy in Clear Sky City, to set up the 9 regions origin energy barrier. This was also the reason why Night Sorrow hadn't been able to find anything in Clear Sky City. I'm very sorry that I didn't leave anything for you. However, it was worth it to leave behind this stable 9 regions origin energy barrier, said the Clear Sky Saint King. Senior, there's still something I don't understand. What's going on with the spatial turbulence outside Clear Sky City? Why does it feel like a formation? Asked Night Sorrow. That's a second seal placed by the enemy. They don't want people from the 9 regions world to come here again. Fortunately, you're here, said the Clear Sky Saint King. Chapter 801. I hope they won't attack so early. If they attack early, our 9 regions world won't be able to hold on. Night Sorrow was a bit worried. Don't worry about winning or losing. So what if we lose once? Our 9 regions world has already lost a few times. Losing again isn't a big deal. The main thing is to win in the end, said the Clear Sky Sage King. But many people will die like this, said Night Sorrow. When you go back, tell everyone you can talk to have a backup plan. Back then, the other 2 Sage Kings and I had a backup plan. You guys should do the same, said the Clear Sky Sage King. The Clear Sky Sage King's next words shocked Night Sorrow. The 3 Sage Kings had opened up 3 different spaces. The Night Moon Sea, the Void Path Sky, and the Central Prefecture. Which senior opened up the Night Moon Sea? Night Sorrow stood up. I opened it up for my family's descendants. Why do you know about the Night Moon Sea? Asked the Clear Sky Sage King. He looked at Night Sorrow. I know about the Night Moon Sea. My name is Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow said his name. Dihaha, your surname is Night. That means you're my descendant. That's great. I'm Yi Qianhua, laughed the Clear Sky Sage King. He was truly happy. Originally, he was very happy that the 9 regions world's people had come here. Now that he knew Night Sorrow was his descendant, he was even happier. Ancestor, do you have no chance of living? Asked Night Sorrow. This is not a matter of opportunity. With the support of the 9 domain world's world origin energy, even a wisp of a remnant soul would not dissipate. Now his lifespan has come to an end. Yi Qianhua said to Yi Shang. Can I use life spirit liquid? Asked Night Sorrow. It's no use. It's not a matter of resources. Resources can solve a problem. With the support of the Heaven Sealing Palace, how can it not be solved? My lifespan is at its limit, sighed Yi Qianhua. Night Sorrow didn't say anything else. He knew that the old ancestor's lifespan was coming to an end, and he felt a little sad. It's nothing. It's very tiring for me to live like this, but it's also a form of relief. To be able to see my descendants before the end of my life is also a very gratifying thing. Tell me about the Yi clan situation, Yi Qianhua said. Then Night Sorrow started to talk about what he knew, all the way to the current situation. Night Moon Dynasty Moon Emperor Yi Tian. You are indeed a genius. Tianjin Tower was built by the Saint King of the Void Tao. You are the young master of the Tianji Tower, so you can have some influence. If there is no hope of victory in the battle, let everyone retreat first. Those people are only attacking the high-level cultivators. They are still waiting for the low-level cultivators to grow, so they will ignore them. Yi Qianhua said to Night Sorrow. Because Yi Qianhua was a soul, the two of them could only communicate. They couldn't drink or drink. Then, Night Sorrow said that he wanted to get a title. You can't, but there is no way to cheat. You need to rely on your strength. The Heaven Sealing Hall will set up a test. If you perform well, you will be given a title and receive the power of providence of the 9 zones. Yi Qianhua said to Night Sorrow. After resting for a while, Night Sorrow bowed to Yi Qianhua and walked towards the Heaven Sealing Hall. He knew that this was very important to him. A title recognized by the 9 zones world was very important. With Night Sorrow's arrival, the Heaven Sealing Hall's door opened. Yi Shang turned around to look at Yi Qianhua before walking in. Night Sorrow saw an endless staircase in front of him. He knew that this was the test. Stepping on the stairs, Night Sorrow felt the pressure. Just like at Danding Cliff and the Space-Time Pagoda, the pressure came in waves. However, Night Sorrow was still used to it. He had experienced this kind of test before, whether it was at Danding Cliff or the Space-Time Pagoda. As he walked, Night Sorrow calculated the pressure. After reaching level 400, Night Sorrow realized that the path forward was flat. He was not climbing upwards. Instead, he was moving forward against the pressure. However, as Night Sorrow walked forward for a while, the originally flat path once again appeared with rising steps. Night Sorrow was a little puzzled. He had reached the 400th step, which exceeded the pressure of a level 4 supremacy. There should not be rising steps. However, since the steps appeared, Night Sorrow would continue climbing. Since it was a test, and there was only one path, he could only continue climbing. Withstanding the pressure, Night Sorrow continued climbing. With his strong body, Night Sorrow reached the 500th step. Looking at the flat path ahead, Night Sorrow continued forward. After walking for a while, the rising steps appeared again. Night Sorrow took a deep breath and walked up the steps. Since there were steps, he had to go up. This time, Night Sorrow felt a lot of pressure. He then put up a protective shield and continued forward. With the Void Chi's protective shield's corrosive power, Night Sorrow was able to continue forward. After successfully climbing the 600th step, Night Sorrow's robe was soaked. At this time, Night Sorrow wanted to take out some origin spiritual liquid to replenish himself. However, he then realized that his storage ring was surrounded by a special energy, and he could no longer communicate with it. Night Sorrow shook his head. He understood. This was because the test did not allow the use of resources. Fortunately, Night Sorrow had his own way, and that was to slowly move forward and recover. Because he did not know what would happen next, it was important to recover his own energy. The pressure on the flat steps was not very strong. Night Sorrow recovered as he moved forward. When Night Sorrow's cultivation had recovered to 70%, the rising steps appeared again. It would be very difficult to get a title. This was Night Sorrow's thought. Looking at the steps in front of him, Night Sorrow took a deep breath. He shouted in his heart and began to climb. After reaching the 30th step, Night Sorrow could no longer hold on. At this time, Night Sorrow used spatial rend and slashed forward. The moment he broke through the pressure, Night Sorrow rushed up. After using spatial rend, Night Sorrow could rush up 20 steps. Then, the effect of the spatial rend would recover under the pressure. Night Sorrow then continued to use spatial rend. After 4 spatial rends, Night Sorrow reached the top of the 700th step. At this time, Night Sorrow was exhausted. There was no energy in his body. Just when Night Sorrow thought that he would be blown away by the pressure suddenly disappeared. The steps also disappeared. The place he was at had become a space rich in spirit chi. The first stage of the test has been completed. Night Sorrow has successfully passed the 3-level test. The second stage will begin in 2 hours. A voice sounded in Night Sorrow's ears. When Night Sorrow heard the voice, he began to meditate and recover. At this time he felt that he could communicate with the storage ring. However, he did not need to eat resources to recover because the spirit chi here was very rich. Chapter 802. 2 hours later, Night Sorrow had recovered to his peak state. He stood up and prepared to take the second test. The first test is the foundation test. The second test is the soul test. As long as you can last for 8 hours, you pass. If you fall to the ground or faint, you fail. The voice sounded in Night Sorrow's ears. Then the space around Night Sorrow began to change. It turned into a small island with stars above his head. Just as Night Sorrow was observing, a majestic pressure appeared and pressed down on Night Sorrow. Soul pressure, because this was a test, not an attack. The pressure came slowly. Because of this, the Void Fate Jewel didn't put up any defenses. It could tell what was an attack and what could threaten Yishan's life. Only D equals W. All other QD equals P were pirated. Night Sorrow took out the spiritual jade block and sat down cross-legged. He began to circulate his soul power to resist the pressure. The majestic pressure continued to press down on Night Sorrow's spirit sea. However, Night Sorrow could withstand it. While circulating his soul power to defend, Night Sorrow also placed the energy that was attacking his spirit sea into his spirit sea. As his soul power revolved to defend, it also refined the energy. At this moment, Night Sorrow was not only taking the test, but also cultivating. Night Sorrow sat there steadily. Even if the pressure increased, he did not notice. Night Sorrow was so engrossed in his cultivation that he forgot about the test. The majestic pressure stopped increasing after a certain point. It continued to suppress him. The reason Yishang was able to withstand the pressure from his soul was mainly because he had started cultivating his soul force earlier. Others would only open their divine sea after reaching the 5th stage. But Yishang had already opened his divine sea when he was at the 4th stage. He had already begun cultivating his soul force, and his soul force had long since surpassed his cultivation level. Night Sorrow did not know how much time had passed. He woke up from the spatial turbulence. The second test requires you to skip 3 levels. 2 hours later, the final test will be the test of combat ability. The voice rang out once more. If the clear sky Saint King Yi Qianhua had not explained it to Night Sorrow would have thought that it was the voice of the artifact spirit. Now he knew that it was not, because the heaven-sealing Great Hall was not a treasure. It was a way to display the 9 regions' origin source. In this second test, Night Sorrow did not expend much energy. Now he was waiting for the arrival of the third test. 2 hours later, the space changed again. This place changed into a large martial arts practice field, but the surroundings were like a cage, which meant that there was no way to escape during the battle. There are a total of 9 waves of energy warriors. You only need to defeat 4 waves to obtain a title. However, the more waves you can withstand, the higher your title will be. The voice of the Nine Zones origin appeared in Night Sorrow's ears again. Night Sorrow grabbed the reincarnation spear from his back and walked to the center of the martial arts practice field. Night Sorrow was not afraid of battles. Then an energy warrior appeared in the martial arts practice field. Night Sorrow saw that this was an opponent of the same level as him. While Night Sorrow was observing, this energy warrior charged towards Night Sorrow. He slashed out with his battle saber, and the saber aura was very violent. Night Sorrow propped up his protective shield and slashed horizontally to the side. Then the reincarnation spear shook and executed the 7-star glorious moon spear, attacking the opponent. This energy warrior waved his saber to block, but Night Sorrow's 7-star glorious moon spear was not easy to block. Night Sorrow's spear broke the energy warrior's battle saber and pierced the energy warrior's chest. After being hit by Night Sorrow's spear, this energy warrior dispersed. After a while, 2 energy warriors appeared and charged towards Night Sorrow again. Night Sorrow's protective shield had the ability to cut and was very fast. These 2 energy warriors could not keep up with Night Sorrow's speed and were killed by Night Sorrow in 2 rounds. Night Sorrow had just taken a breather when 4 energy warriors appeared in the martial arts practice field. Night Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear and started the battle. After a while, the 4 energy warriors fell under Night Sorrow's spear again. However, Night Sorrow also realized that these energy warriors had different attributes, combat skills, body movements, and skills. Then 8 energy warriors appeared and surrounded Night Sorrow again. Night Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear and started the battle. He had already survived 4 waves and obtained a title. Night Sorrow treated the following battles as training. As the battle continued, Night Sorrow had already forgotten the concept of the previous waves. This was because he was surrounded by energy warriors with different attributes and combat skills. Night Sorrow fought incisively and vividly. They were all at the same level and there was no energy suppression. It was a competition of combat skills. Night Sorrow was not afraid of this. After 2 hours of battle, a dense crowd of energy warriors appeared on the training field. Using his soul power to scan, Night Sorrow discovered that there were a total of 99 level 4 supremacies and 1 level 7 supremacy. This is the last round of the test. It is also a test that has never appeared before. Now, I will give you some time to rest. After 1 hour, the last round of the challenge will begin. Of course, you can choose to give up because you have already obtained a title. The voice appeared in Night Sorrow's ears again. I will fight, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow would not let go of such a chance to train. After sitting down with his legs crossed, Night Sorrow realized that the continuous battles had depleted his vital chi and myriad Tao Tome's energy. His soul power was also exhausted. He was too engrossed in the battle just now and did not pay attention to his own condition. After consuming the Life Soul Liquid and Origin Spiritual Liquid, Night Sorrow held the Soul Crystal in his hand and started to fully recover. After 15 minutes, Night Sorrow had almost recovered. However, Night Sorrow was still meditating and cultivating. At the same time, he was organizing his thoughts on how to face the last battle. Night Sorrow knew that such a difficult test would not appear for no reason. There must be a reason for it to appear. If he could get through it, it would only be beneficial for him. After pondering for a while, Night Sorrow stood up. He planned to use all his strength to get through the last round of the test. After displaying the reincarnation spear, Night Sorrow nodded, indicating that the battle could begin. As Night Sorrow nodded, all the energy warriors moved. All of them rushed towards Night Sorrow. The level 7 honorable energy warrior commander was at the front, holding a long spear in his hand. After one clash, Night Sorrow's body was sent flying. Before Night Sorrow could regain his balance, a battle blade slashed towards Night Sorrow's back. At this moment, Night Sorrow did something that would make anyone dumbfounded. He withdrew his protective shield. The energy warrior's battle blade landed on Night Sorrow's back. After cutting open his robe, it slid to the side. It did not break through Night Sorrow's defense at all. This was the reason why Night Sorrow withdrew his protective shield. He did not want to waste his vital chi. Anyway, a level 4 honorable energy warrior would not be able to break through his body. There was no need to waste his vital chi. Chapter 803. Night Sorrow did not care about the Level 4 Supremacy's attacks. He focused all his efforts on the Level 7 Supremacy Energy Warrior Commander. The 7 Stars Glorious Moon Spear and Hand of Desolation continued to bombard the Level 7 Supremacy Energy Warrior Commander. At this moment, the Level 4 Supremacy Energy Warriors were no longer the Level 4 Supremacy Energy Warrior Commander's assistants. Instead, they were his burdens. They were constantly blocking his path of movement, and had endured too many of Night Sorrow's attacks for him. Spatial Rend. Night Sorrow roared. He performed the Spatial Rend, but he controlled its power. He could use the spatial energy, but there would not be any Spatial Rend. After performing the Spatial Rend, Night Sorrow activated his spatial energy shield. With a slash, he appeared in front of the Level 7 Supremacy Energy Warrior Commander. Then he performed the ultimate move of his 7 Stars Glorious Moon Spear art, 7 Stars Glorious Moon Extreme Kill. Unable to dodge, the Energy Warrior Commander could only block with his spear. As he blocked, a part of his spear was melted. After breaking the Energy Warrior Commander's spear, Night Sorrow controlled his Reincarnation Spear to charge forward and pierce the Energy Warrior Commander's chest. Night Sorrow shook his Reincarnation Spear, and the Energy Warrior Commander's body was destroyed. After solving the biggest problem, Night Sorrow roared. He waved his Reincarnation Spear and started to fight with the other Level 4 Supremacy Energy Warriors. Night Sorrow would not be injured when fighting with the Level 4 Supremacy Energy Warriors. This was because his defense was stronger than his opponent's attack. It was only a matter of time before he defeated them. This battle was Night Sorrow's most satisfying battle. After an hour, Night Sorrow killed the last energy warrior with a single strike. You passed the test perfectly. The voice sounded. Night Sorrow looked at his torn battle robe. He changed into a new one and sat down cross-legged, planning to recover. Night Sorrow had just sat down cross-legged. Before he started to recover, a ball of light suddenly appeared. The light enveloped Night Sorrow, and under Night Sorrow's astonishment, the light shuttled back and forth within his body. After the time it took to brew a cup of tea, the light left Night Sorrow's body and turned into an energy body. I've investigated your situation. There are 2 titles that are suitable for you. Of course, you can also request for a title, but it's unknown whether you will be granted one, the energy figure said. GW, net first D hair K. Why is it unknown whether or not it can be given? Yishan didn't quite understand, so he asked. For example, if a supremacy passed the test and wanted the title of Invincible Supremacy, the title would not be given to him because he does not have the qualifications to be invincible, the energy figure explained. Then tell me which 2 titles are suitable for me, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a moment. He didn't have any titles in mind, so he wanted to hear what the energy figure had to say about the heaven-sealing Great Hall. Your true chi is of the Void attribute, so you can be given the title of Void. Your body has the potential to become immortal, so you can also be given the title of Immortal, the energy figure said to Night Sorrow. Then I'll be called Immortal, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a moment. He liked this title. Immortal Supremacy. This title is a bit big, but you have the qualifications. In the future, there won't be any more titles in the 9 regions world. This is the only title that belongs to you. Once you become a saint, you'll have to undergo another test. If you pass, you'll become an immortal saint, the energy figure said to Night Sorrow. I understand. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at the energy figure. The energy clone nodded and waved its arm. Suddenly, 2 golden characters appeared in the air. They were ancient characters, but Night Sorrow could recognize them. They were the 2 characters Immortal. The 2 ancient characters churned in the air, constantly glowing. This title of yours is a peak title, and it contains a different meaning. In other words, the 9 regions world's origins acknowledge that you have the potential to become immortal. However, the 9 regions world's origins are broken, and I'm not a complete origin, so the amount of karmic luck I can give you is limited. Also, I heard your conversation with Sacred King Clear Sky. If you can repair the 9 regions world, I can control the 9 regions origins and fuse them into your body. When that time comes, you'll become the ruler of the 9 regions world. You'll be able to control the 9 regions world, and prevent it from being invaded. In fact, the 9 regions world will be able to evolve into a supreme world, the energy figure said to Night Sorrow. But I know that 2 of the 9 regions' origins have already recognized a master. Can the 9 regions' origins be fused again? Will that affect them? Night Sorrow asked. Of course I know. Of the 9 domain essences, the Dongxian essence and Nanli essence have acknowledged me as their master, but that's only a superficial acknowledgement. My true self can take them back. My true self scattered the 9 domain essences all over the world in order to find a master for the 9 domains, but they aren't suitable. My true self isn't an essence body right now. I'm the core essence energy of the 9 domain essences, and I can control the 9 fragmented essences. If I want to take them back, I can. Should I take them back now? No, I don't want that. The people who refine the 2 origins are related to me. I don't want them to be hurt, Night Sorrow said. When you're able to mend the entire world, I'll consider leaving some origin energy for the 2 of you after retrieving the origin energy. It won't harm them either. The energy body, which was the 9 realms origin energy, explained to Night Sorrow. While Night Sorrow was communicating with the 9 regions' origins, golden light appeared in the sky all over the 9 regions' world. The golden light tumbled for a while and then turned into 2 symbols, which then turned into 2 ancient characters. The ancient characters floated high in the sky and shone in all directions. On an island in the realm sea, Xielanjun and the other saints had arrived at the Eastern Xian region's camp. Wu Lingfei was also here. Everyone was looking at the 2 ancient characters dancing in the sky. A titled expert has appeared. It's actually an immortal titled expert. This has never happened before in the 9 regions world, said Long Xiansheng. Lord Long Xiansheng, what's going on? Asked Xielanjun. Someone entered the Heaven Sealing Palace, passed the test, and obtained a taboo title. Who is it? Long Xiansheng narrowed his eyes and pondered. Senior, what is a taboo title? Asked Wu Lingfei. A title based on one's accomplishments and attribute is a taboo title. The appearance of such a title means that the Heaven Sealing Palace believes that the person who obtained the title can reach the peak of an attribute. Such a title shouldn't appear in the world, muttered Long Xiansheng. We can't even get close, but someone actually obtained a taboo title. What's going on? Nan Gansheng looked at the group of people in confusion. We can't, but that doesn't mean others can't. The 9 regions world is about to change, said Long Xiansheng. Just now, Dongshuan's origin chi trembled and wanted to leave my body. I couldn't suppress it, but it stabilized later, said Wu Lingfei. Chapter 804. The golden light bathed the 9 regions world for a while before dispersing. Within the Heaven Sealing Palace, the 2 ancient characters in the air spun and merged into Night Sorrow's body. Cultivators have to fight against the heavens. The world is the same. It's also a fight against the heavenly Tao. The future of the 9 regions world depends on you. The energy body sighed. Then can I bring others here to get a title? Asked Night Sorrow. Of course. You can leave now. The energy body waved its arm, and Night Sorrow's energy surged. Then Night Sorrow appeared at the entrance of the Heaven Sealing Palace. Good kid, you've become a titled immortal. That's really amazing. Clear Sky Saint King looked at Night Sorrow with gratification. It wasn't easy to get this title, said Night Sorrow with a smile. Clear Sky Saint King then told Night Sorrow about some of the problems with the Clear Sky scripture. Then Night Sorrow planned to leave. He planned to bring some people to the Heaven Sealing Palace to get a title. After all, the karmic luck of the 9 regions world was a huge benefit. Night Sorrow, don't bring too many people in. The 9 regions origin energy situation isn't too good right now. If you bring in a large group of people, it'll be a huge burden on her, said Clear Sky Saint King to Night Sorrow. Yes, I'll bring some people who are close to me, Yishan said. At this moment, a thought appeared in Yishang's mind, and that was to not exceed 20 people. This was the current limit of the 9 regions origin energy. If it exceeded this number, she would not open the Heaven Sealing Hall. Night Sorrow knew that this was the 9 regions origin energy's meaning. It'll be very difficult for you to go back and forth, said Clear Sky Saint King to Night Sorrow. Can you set up a teleportation formation? asked Night Sorrow. It's useless. There are spatial storms raging outside Clear Sky City. When you teleport, it'll be easy for the spatial turbulence to destroy the spatial channel. The result will be death, said Clear Sky Saint King. Then I can only continue to travel through the void turbulence. Night Sorrow exhaled. There's nothing we can do about it, Clear Sky Saint King said. Following this, the Clear Sky Saint King told Night Sorrow that he wouldn't appear anymore. As for the other things, if it wasn't necessary, he shouldn't tell anyone else. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and understood. He knew that this would cause panic. Some things needed to be done by himself. Even if he told others, it would be meaningless. Child, you have to be careful. The Nine Regions world already knows about the immortal title. If you go out and bring others here, you won't be able to hide the fact that you have an immortal title. Killing people to steal fate has happened from time to time. Clear Sky Saint King said to Night Sorrow. I'll be careful. Night Sorrow nodded. Also, there's a map in the storage ring I gave you. It has the symbols of the world passages around the Nine Regions world. The Netherworld is a very warlike world. It often fights with the Nine Regions world. The Nether beasts are very powerful. They're the most warlike race under the Nether race. Clear Sky Saint King reminded Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was stunned for a moment. Then he told him about the Supreme River Space and the Netherworld, as well as the relationship between them and Clear Sky City. This is troublesome. War will happen sooner or later. The other thing you have to pay attention to is the Profound Mysteries realm. It's a human world and has a very strong desire to fight. They attacked us once, but they were defeated by Void Dao Saint King. You have to go and take a look. We can't let them rise, said Clear Sky Saint King. Isn't that tantamount to invasion? Night Sorrow said. He was a little disgusted by the idea of invasion. Haha, it's not invasion. Whether it's the Netherworld or the Profound Mysteries realm, they both want to take over our Nine Regions world. It's not the first time they've started a war. Attacking them is a form of defense. Clear Sky Saint King saw Night Sorrow's concern and smiled. Then I'm relieved. Since they want to take over our Nine Regions world, we'll fight back, Night Sorrow said. Remember, repairing the Nine Regions world is the most important thing. All right, I'll go to the Sky Ceiling Hall to recover a little. Then I'll stabilize the Thousand Derivation Great Formation. That way, when the spatial storm outside dissipates, Clear Sky City can still exist. The Nine Regions Origin Protective Shield is not afraid of the attacks of the Otherworlders. We'll kill as many as we can, but we're afraid of the Nine Regions world's people destroying it. Later, I'll set up some formations. The Thousand Derivation Killing Formation and Thousand Derivation Illusory Formation are in the storage ring I gave you. You can come and go as you please in the future, Clear Sky Saint King told Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow understands. Night Sorrow nodded. After that, Night Sorrow left the Sky Ceiling Hall and flew toward the edge of the Realm Sea. The chaotic spatial storm's existence gave Night Sorrow a headache. The main problem was that it consumed a lot of energy, but it was unavoidable. After spending a day and 2,000 high-grade spirit stones, Night Sorrow returned to the island in the Realm Sea where he and Xueshi were staying. You're back. Xueshi threw herself into Night Sorrow's arms when she saw Night Sorrow. I'm back, and I even got a title, Night Sorrow said as he hugged Xueshi. I'm very angry. You abandoned me at a critical moment and ran away by yourself, Xueshi said as she punched Night Sorrow's shoulder. Night Sorrow wrapped Xueshi up and entered the space-time pagoda. Xueshi immediately asked Night Sorrow about his trip to Clear Sky City. Night Sorrow didn't hide anything from Xueshi and told her about the situation in detail. I see. I know about the Central Province Prefecture. It's the territory of Jiyu's family, but I don't know about Su Daotian. I just didn't expect Night Moon's family to be the descendants of Clear Sky Sage King. It seems that you're the hope of the Nine Realms, Xueshi said. I plan to go back and call Grandpa, Father, Mother, Aunt Faye, and Godslayer's little brother, the Three Supremacies. I'll also call a few saints from the Celestial Terminus Tower to go to the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall to get a title, Yishang said. Then I'll meet the people from Tianji Tower. If Xie Lanjun recognizes me, it'll be troublesome. I don't want to cause any trouble, and I don't want you to waste time explaining, Shueshi said. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said, I won't put you on the same floor as the others. That way, there won't be any possibility of you meeting each other. As for the test, I'll think of a way to split you into several groups. Get on the QDZ network as soon as possible. Shueshi thought for a moment and nodded. She respected Night Sorrow's idea very much. I want to be with you, Shueshi said as she hugged Night Sorrow's neck. You're simply a fairy, okay? Night Sorrow nodded. After the passion, Night Sorrow released the airship and set off for Clear Sky City. Chapter 805. Sitting in the flying ship, Night Sorrow opened the Clear Sky Sage King's storage ring. When the Clear Sky Sage King had given the storage ring to Night Sorrow, he had erased the soul imprint on the storage ring. Night Sorrow took out a sword with spatial energy fluctuations. Night Sorrow knew that this was a high-grade saint artifact. It was the Clear Sky Sage King's sword. You're not going to give it away again, are you? You have the spatial attribute. This sword is very suitable for you. You can also cultivate sword arts, said Shueshi. I want to give it to my grandfather, said Night Sorrow. It's useless. Even if you give it to him, he just became a saint. He won't be able to use it. You should keep it for now, said Shueshi to Night Sorrow. She was thinking from Night Sorrow's point of view. Then let's wait and see, said Night Sorrow after thinking for a moment. Next, Night Sorrow took out an ancient book. It was the Clear Sky Scripture left behind by the Clear Sky Sage King. After putting away the Clear Sky Scripture, Night Sorrow took out 2 diagrams. Then he took out a map of the 9 regions world and the surrounding worlds. Night Sorrow looked at the map and found that it was very different from the current 9 regions world. He could only make a rough estimate. The 9 regions world from 10,000 years ago was completely different from the current 9 regions world. After tidying up, Night Sorrow stretched his waist. That's all? Asked Shueshi to Night Sorrow. Yes, that's all. When I have time, I'll go cultivate the Clear Sky Scripture. It'll take some time to change from the Sacred Cauldron Scripture to the Clear Sky Scripture, said Night Sorrow. 10,000 years ago, the continent's first Saint King only had so little resources. That's ridiculous, muttered Shueshi. Sigh, you don't know the whole story. This upper-grade sacred artifact, Sky-Slashing Sword, has probably been with him for a long time. The Clear Sky Sage King couldn't bear to part with it. He took out all the other resources and used them to construct the 9 regions' origin defensive shield. Night Sorrow explained the reason why Clear Sky City didn't have any resources and spiritual chi. So that's the case. It's really not easy. After knowing the reason, Shueshi nodded her head. After arriving at Haohai City, Night Sorrow received the sky ship and Snow Dusk. They arrived at the teleportation point and began to teleport back to Sky City. After meeting with Yilinglan, Night Sorrow asked about his mother. After learning that his mother was still in Sky City, Night Sorrow asked Yilinglan to inform Yilinghuan and his father to look for him. Then he returned to his mansion. Son, you ran for a long time, Yuqing said when she saw Night Sorrow return. Mother, I'm back, Night Sorrow said with a smile. The only one and all others O pirated big brother. When you're not home, Mother talks about you every day. She can't wait to talk about you, said Yin Yan with a smile. Night Sorrow smiled and got up to make tea. However, Shueshi was very understanding. She took the tea set from Night Sorrow's hands and began to make tea. Don't tell me she has the potential to become a sister-in-law? Yin Yan smiled as she looked at Shueshi and muttered, a child like you shouldn't speak nonsense. Yuqing glared at Yin Yanxiao. Soon after, Yilinghuan arrived. While everyone was drinking tea together, Yuweo also arrived at the residence. What is it? What do you need me to do? Yuweo looked at Night Sorrow and asked. He was afraid that his son would be wronged. There are no outsiders here, so I'll get straight to the point. Night Sorrow said that he had entered Haotian City and obtained a title. You mean you can bring some people in? Yilinghuan looked at Night Sorrow with some surprise. Yes, but not too many. Grandfather, you can arrange it, Night Sorrow said to Yilinghuan. Your parents must go. Grandfather will not decline. Night Moon also has 4 emperors. In addition, your 6th uncle, King Linghuan, should also go. Isn't there a bit too many people? After Yi Linghuan mentioned a few people, he smiled at Night Sorrow. This was because there were 8 people. I'm the one who will bring people in. I'm from Night Moon, so others naturally can't say anything. In addition, our god-slaying squad has 3 venerables. Yin Huang, Ling Long, and Liang Yu will also go. That's 11 people, Night Sorrow said. Besides the people from Night Moon's dynasty, Wu Lingfei and Long Xianxing must go. As for the people from Medicine Valley, Night Sorrow thought for a while, and felt that he should put them aside. After all, the venerables from Medicine Valley were not very strong, and there was some gap between them and the venerables from the god-slaying squad. It was meaningless for them to go. Including Xuexi, there were 14 people in total. Then there were the people from Tianjin Tower, including Xie Lanjun, Lin Yuandao, Guoxiao, Lutrin Swan, and Hua Haining. As for the people from the North Sea region, Night Sorrow could not take care of them. Night Sorrow planned to give the people from Tianjin Tower 5 places. As for the people from Tianjin Tower, they should make their own arrangements. How about it? Do you have enough places? Yi Linghuan looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Night Sorrow thought for a while and said, let's forget about the Medicine Valley. After all, it's not easy to get a title. There's still one more place. Let's see who we can give it to. Then give it to the monarch of the Yin dynasty. This is Grandpa's selfishness. The Taiqing domain must rise. Yi Linghuan said again. Grandpa, I need absolute trust to take everyone there. We need to enter my space sacred treasure. It can be said that I'm putting their lives in my hands. This time, I'm going to spend thousands of high-grade spirit stones. It's a thankless task. Night Sorrow expressed his concerns. That's true. Grandpa, let him know. If he goes, he'll have to pay the spirit stones. Yi Linghuan said. Then Yi Linghuan left Sky City and went to inform Yin Tianlong. Son, you were the one who made the golden light that filled the sky. You're so domineering. Yu Qing looked at Night Sorrow and said with a smile. It's really not easy. However, it seems that I passed the examination and got a top-level forbidden title. Even if it's difficult for others, there should be a limit. Mother, you can do it. Night Sorrow said with a smile. While they were talking, Yang Lei and the others returned. Looking at Sikong Chiyu, Yang Lei and Aoi, Night Sorrow told them about this matter. The 3 of them were not venerables and could not participate. Then Night Sorrow apologized to Sikong Chiyu. He could not take care of the Sikong family at the moment. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Sikong Chiyu shook his head. This is the big picture. The people you chose were all chosen for a reason. In terms of qualifications, Yun Huang, Ling Long, and Liang Yu are a bit inferior. However, they are all very outstanding. If they have luck, they will grow faster in the future. Night Sorrow explained the reason for the 3 members of the god-slaying team. Night Sorrow was still thinking about Tianyu. When the time came, he could only communicate with the 9 regions' origin energy alone. Aoi then called Yin Huang and the others over. Night Sorrow told them about this matter. The 3 of them were very happy. Of course, they knew how rare this opportunity was. Then Yi Shenxian, Yi Shenyue, Yi Shenlei, and Yi Shenquang all came. Night Moon and the Emperor, but because of the previous battle, their cultivation was either destroyed or they had no future. 2 hours later, Yi Linghuan also returned. Yin Tianlong is really disappointing. He told the family that he was looking for a breakthrough, and then disappeared. Chapter 806. Night Sorrow then nodded at Sikong Chiyu. Then I'll go home and inform my father, Sikong Chiyu said and left the city in the sky. Sigh, my old man can't even drink soup, let alone eat meat. Yun Huang said bitterly. With the teleportation array, Sikong Chiyu was very fast. He brought his father back in half an hour. Sikong Chiyu gave an introduction to everyone. Sikong Tianding bowed to the 4 emperors of Night Moon, then cupped his hands to Yi Linghuan, Yi Wuyo, and Yu Qing. In-law, I'm very sorry. Because I've been in seclusion recently, I didn't visit Night Sorrow's mother. Yi Wuyo cupped his hands to Sikong Tianding. That's understandable. Chuyu's mother has also been in seclusion recently, so she didn't come, Sikong Tianding said. Knet head. You hair. Yi Linghuan told Sikong Tianding about entering Night Sorrow's spacetime pagoda. because he was handing his life over to Night Sorrow. Haha, a son-in-law is half a son. How can I not trust him? Sikong Tianding said with a smile. As for trusting Night Sorrow and Night Moon's emperors, there was naturally no problem. As for the 3 members of the god-slaying team, there was even less of a problem. Then you guys go in. I'll go to Tianji Tower again, then we'll set off for that small island. Night Sorrow held the space-time pagoda in his right hand and told everyone not to resist. Then he transferred them to the 50th floor of the pagoda, and Xueshi to the 60th floor. After putting everyone into the space-time pagoda, Night Sorrow went to the lake and also put Tianyu, who was cultivating, into the pagoda. Then he rushed to Tianji Tower. When he arrived at Tianji Tower, Night Sorrow saw Lin Yuandao and Guoxiao. Night Sorrow said that he could enter Haotian City and the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall. Then he said that he could give Lin Yuandao 5 spots, excluding Wu Lingfei. Then let's go to that island first. I'll discuss this with the Supreme Elder. Lin Yuandao thought for a moment, then called for Guoxiao and Hua Haining to follow Night Sorrow to the island in the Realm Sea. In the camp of the Eastern Xian region, Night Sorrow saw Long Xiansheng, Wu Lingfei, Xie Lanjun, and the others. However, Nan Gansheng and Jin Haisheng were not there. They had brought their own people elsewhere. As for this matter, it depends on everyone's situation. After all, this is the same as putting your lives in my hands. If you are worried, then forget it. After all, I can't afford to pay a large amount of spirit stones and be suspected. After explaining the situation, Night Sorrow also explained his own intentions. I'm not afraid, haha. Long Xiansheng laughed. Wu Lingfei smiled and nodded at Night Sorrow. When it came to trust, the person she trusted the most was Night Sorrow. I'm very grateful that you can give me 5 spots in Tianji Tower. Also, it's going to cost a lot of spirit stones. Xie Lanjun looked at Night Sorrow. No one would believe me even if I told them. I made a trip there myself, and a few thousand high-grade spirit stones were gone. I spent a lot of energy traveling through the spatial storms, so I had to enter the pagoda of spacetime to recover. When the time comes, the pagoda of spacetime will have to withstand the spatial storms. It will require a lot of energy from spirit stones. Night Sorrow smiled bitterly. Tianji Tower will pay for this. What do you think, Master K? Xie Lanjun looked at Lin Yuandao. Elder Hua, did you bring spirit stones? Lin Yuandao looked at Hua Haining. Hua Haining was the elder in charge of managing resources in Tianji Tower. I only brought 4,000 high-grade spirit stones with me. Hua Haining took out a spatial ring. How about this? I'll use top-grade spirit stones in exchange. Using top-grade spirit stones isn't worth it. Night Sorrow took out 40 top-grade spirit stones. Don't be like this. We don't feel good about cheating our juniors. You giving 5 spots to Tianji Tower is already very rare. We appreciate it, said Xie Lanjun. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and nodded. He put away the spatial ring Hua Haining had given him. Night Sorrow, Aunt Fei has 1,000 high-grade spirit stones. I don't need them right now. Take them. Wu Lingfei also took out 2 spatial belts. Aunt Fei, I really don't need them. Night Sorrow shook his head. Be good. Aunt Fei doesn't need spirit stones for cultivation right now. Besides, if you want to use them, use top-grade spirit stones. Wu Lingfei pulled on Night Sorrow's hand and stuffed the spatial belts into Night Sorrow's hand. Then Senior Xie, Master K, please discuss the arrangements for the spots. We can leave at any time, said Night Sorrow. Xie Lanjun nodded and entered the tent with Lin Yuandao and the others. After all, there were still many people in Tianji Tower. The matter of the spots needed to be discussed. A moment later, the results came out. Xie Lanjun, Lin Yuandao, Guoxiao, Hua Haining, and Lutrin Swan. Li Changtian was currently in the Eastern Xian region, so he couldn't make it. After making the decision, Night Sorrow brought them into the space-time pagoda, and then flew back to where he had entered the Realm Sea last time. After arriving at the edge of the Realm Sea, Night Sorrow rested for a moment, and then flew into the Realm Sea. With the experience of transmigrating, Night Sorrow had to work very hard this time. It took him a day and 3,000 high-grade spirit stones to reach Supreme Sky City. Arriving at Vast Sky City, Night Sorrow's consumption decreased. After transmigrating, he rested and recovered. and then transmigrated again. After a few times, Night Sorrow arrived at an area without spatial storms. Then, Night Sorrow brought everyone out. Of course, Shueshi was still in the space-time pagoda. Seeing everyone's surprised expressions, Night Sorrow explained the reason for the situation. Then Night Sorrow brought everyone to the 9 Regions Origin Energy Shield. This 9 Regions Origin Energy Shield isn't harmful to the people of the 9 regions, but it's a great weapon against outsiders. It's also the last layer of protection for the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall. After explaining, Night Sorrow brought everyone into the 9 Regions Origin Energy Shield. As everyone approached the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall, the door opened, and a group of people entered. Tianyu followed everyone in. After everyone entered, Night Sorrow looked at the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall. Senior 9 Regions, are you here? You really brought 20 people. The 9 Regions Origin Energy's voice sounded in Night Sorrow's ears. I still have some people here. I didn't bring them because I didn't dare to hurt you, said Night Sorrow. You have another person's aura on you. Let her go. One more person won't make a difference. The 9 Regions Origin Energy expressed its intention. Night Sorrow hurriedly let Shueshi out, and let her go to the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall. This group of people has good potential. The 9 regions still have hope. The 9 Regions Origin Energy communicated with Night Sorrow. The last person should be separated from the others. When she comes out, change to another place. I'll directly put her into the space-time pagoda. Night Sorrow said. This is a small matter. I can help you tell you that it can only limit 20 people, because the 9 Regions Origin Energy can't be used. It's hard to replenish it. If you continue to use it, it won't be worth it. However, once the 9 Regions world is repaired, there won't be this drawback. You have a supreme attribute world. At that time, the world law's power will be stronger than before the 9 Regions world was destroyed. It will be difficult for the experts of the profound sky world to descend. The 9 Regions Origin Energy communicated with Night Sorrow. Chapter 807. He's not good. This senior knows a lot about him. Over the years, we have often communicated. He has reincarnated a few times, but because the conditions of the 9 Regions world were not good enough, he was unable to break through to the Saint King realm. Therefore, in this life, he persevered until the end of his lifespan and refused to reincarnate. He wanted to persevere for the 9 Regions world until the end. The 9 Regions world source conveyed the news that shocked Night Sorrow. That's indeed the case. It's better for me to say it than him. Yi Qianhua's figure appeared. When you cultivate the clear heaven scripture that I gave you to a certain extent, you will discover some of the information I left behind. Of course, there's also the possibility of not discovering it. After you left last time, I thought a lot and felt that there are some things I can tell you. The Clear Heaven Saint King looked at Night Sorrow and said. Following the Clear Heaven Saint King's narration, Night Sorrow learned some unknown secrets. The Yi clan was once a very famous clan in the profound sky world. It was one of the top clans in the South Sky Empire. At that time, the eldest son of the Yi clan even married the princess of the South Sky Empire. However, because the eldest son of the Yi clan was extremely talented, the crown prince of the South Sky Empire felt threatened and set up a trap to frame the Yi clan with the crime of betrayal. Did you know that the Yi clan was the #1 clan in the South Sky Empire? But because of suspicion, the crown prince used despicable methods. He used the eldest son of the eldest son as a threat to cripple the cultivation of the eldest son of the Yi clan and the princess of the South Sky Empire. In the end, he cruelly killed the two of them. The Clear Heaven Saint King sighed. Looking at Night Sorrow, the Clear Heaven Saint King's face was filled with misery. Do you really want to know why I know so much? It's because I'm the child of the eldest son of the Yi clan and the princess of the South Sky Empire. I'm that child. Night Sorrow felt very sad in his heart, because he felt the pain of the Clear Heaven Saint King Yi Qianhua. After the war started, some of my clansmen and I were sent to the 9-domain world by the patriarch of the Yi clan, who is also my grandfather. I was unwilling to give up. I missed my father and mother, so I decided to take revenge. After that, I experienced 3 great massacres in the Sky Profound world, and every time, my body would be torn apart. Then, my soul would reincarnate and fight again. After the last great battle, my heart was tired, because I could not see any hope. Old ancestor, you can reincarnate, Night Sorrow said anxiously. 10,000 years ago, when the Nine Regions world was destroyed, my heart died, and I gave up on reincarnation. The disaster of the Nine Regions world was brought about by the Yi clan and their subordinate clans, so even if I gave up on reincarnation, I still had to work hard for the Nine Regions world. Now I see hope, but it's too late to reincarnate. Night Sorrow didn't want to see Yi Qianhua's sad ending. Maybe my father and mother will die. Perhaps I'll only be able to see my father and mother if I die completely. People say that after living for a long time, you'll become numb. But the longer I live, the more I miss them. I can't hold on anymore. Child, live well. Living well is more important than anything else. Yi Qianhua sighed and disappeared from Yi Shang's sight. He's cooperating with the Heaven Sealing Great Hall, which means he's cooperating with me to strengthen your soul clone. He doesn't have the ability to come out and see you again. Maybe you can calm the regret in his heart. The Nine Regions origin Chi expressed a thought and disappeared in front of Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow felt very sad. Because of his ancestors' grief, he deeply felt the pain in Yi Qianhua's heart. Clenching his teeth, Night Sorrow felt that he had the ability to do something for Yi Qianhua. Because that was his ancestor. His ancestor had been wronged. As a descendant, he had the responsibility to avenge his ancestor. Night Sorrow also understood the origins of the Night Moon Empire. The Night Moon Empire was a family in the sky profound world. They couldn't withstand the despicable methods of others, and were forced to develop in the Nine Regions world. Feeling the grief in Yi Qianhua's heart, Night Sorrow felt very depressed. It could be said that it was the shame of the Yi clan. Night Sorrow felt that if there was a day when the Night Moon Empire could trample the Sky South Empire under their feet, then it would be considered as washing away their shame. As long as I'm alive, I will definitely avenge my ancestor and the Yi clan. I will definitely let the Night Moon Empire stand at the peak. Night Sorrow, who had this thought, shouted towards the Heaven Sealing Great Hall. At this moment, in a separate space in the Heaven Sealing Great Hall, Yi Qianhua was sitting cross-legged. There was a special array in front of him. The jade container that contained Night Sorrow's blood and soul clone was within the array. Clear Sky Sage King, your past few lives have been tragic. However, this descendant of yours is a good person. Now you don't have to care about this anymore. Go and reincarnate. Due to your efforts for the Nine Regions world, I can give you a strand of origin energy to support you. It will allow you to complete your reincarnation before the end of your life. The Nine Regions origin energy said to Yi Qianhua's soul. But this will be a form of harm to you. Yi Qianhua's originally lifeless eyes lit up. #Forever Free Yufi. Look at the small video camera. Cultivators are virtuous. You have done good deeds for the Nine Regions, so I naturally have to do something for you. Go and reincarnate. With the protection of the reincarnation force, the spatial storm outside will not be a threat to you. As for the array that needs to be set up outside, you have already set up the array foundation. Later on, when I recover, all you need to do is to pour energy into it. The Nine Regions origin energy separated a ray of light and entered Yi Qianhua's soul clone. Yi Qianhua stood up and bowed to the Nine Regions origin energy. Then, a mixed white light appeared on his body and he disappeared from the Heaven Sealing Great Hall. While Night Sorrow was thinking, a golden light appeared in the sky above the Heaven Sealing Great Hall. Moreover, the golden light continued to appear. Night Sorrow knew that someone had passed the test. Then more and more people appeared. The first to appear was Yiling Huan. Grandpa, the Sky Slayer title is yours, right? Night Sorrow asked. He had seen the Sky Slayer title just now. It was the first to appear. The light had also covered the other titles. Yes. Yiling Huan smiled and began to meditate. Then other people appeared. However, most of the titles were in their own names or their previous code names. Wu Lingfei's title was Golden Phoenix, Yiling Huan's title was Wu You, and Yu Qing's title was Qing Fei. While everyone was resting, Night Sorrow left the front of the Heaven Sealing Great Hall. and walked to an area where no one was paying attention to. Then he put Xueshi, who had been sent out by the 9 regions' origin energy, into the 60th floor of the Spacetime Treasure Pagoda. Then he returned to the main entrance of the heaven-sealing Great Hall. At this time everyone came out. Not everyone had obtained a title. Ling Long didn't get one. Lu Trinswan didn't get one. Neither did the Sikong Heavenly Cauldron. The 3 of them had failed the test. The 3 of them were very sad because this opportunity had not come easily. However, the 3 of them had wasted it. No one could do anything about this. The heaven-sealing Great Hall's test had different levels of difficulty, depending on the level of the examinee. The standard for a half-saint was the standard for a half-saint. If you weren't at the top of this level, you wouldn't get a title. Don't worry. This is nothing. Just come back after cultivating for a while. Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Captain, I'm sorry to disappoint you. I've embarrassed our god-slaying squad, Ling Long said in a low voice. Chapter 808. Then everyone sat down to cultivate and stabilize their cultivation bases. Obtaining a title was equivalent to obtaining some of the 9 regions' karmic luck, as well as some energy to refine. Don't bring anyone here for 3 years. Every 3 years, 5 people can come. However, those who participate once can't come again for 20 years. In 2 months, the 1000 derivation killing formation and 1000 derivation illusory formation will appear. Aside from you, who has the clear sky sacred king's formation diagram, no one else can enter. The 9 regions' origin energies voice rang out in Knight Sorrow's mind. Chapter 9a Section JT 04 hours later, everyone who had been meditating stood up. No one celebrated. The 9 domains world was already in such a state, so there was nothing to celebrate. Moreover, there were still 3 people who had not passed the examination, so celebrating would make them feel uncomfortable. Then if there's nothing else, we can go back, said Knight Sorrow. Then they entered the Spacetime Tower. Knight Sorrow had to go through the spatial storms of the Realm Sea and return to the island. Once they were on the island, Knight Sorrow let them out. Knight Sorrow, thank you. Xie Lanjun cupped her hands toward Knight Sorrow. That's nothing. There are still some things. This time, because there was a limit to the number of people, I didn't bring some. Senior Xie, please help me explain. I'm especially sorry about martial uncles, Yi Shang said to Xie Lanjun. I will tell them about it, Xie Lanjun said. Tell Uncle Master that I'll bring her in 3 years, said Knight Sorrow. The Uncle Master of the Eastern Xian region was supporting him. Adding on the fact that the Medicine Valley's resources were expanding into the North Sea, Knight Sorrow felt like he had to help the Uncle Master. What about in 3 years? Asked Lin Yuandao. There were many sovereigns in the Tianjin Tower, so he naturally paid attention to it. Yes, but don't worry about the spots. There are only 5 people. This time, I didn't even bring my master. Next time, my 3 fiancés will enter. Knight Sorrow directly refused. He needed the spots himself. It was already good enough that he could give one to his Uncle Master. You've already helped the Tianjin Tower a lot. I shouldn't have such thoughts, said Lin Yuandao apologetically. He knew his request wasn't appropriate. If he had known there were only 5 spots, he wouldn't have asked. Sir Tower Lord, I have 3 fiancés. 2 of them are from the Extreme Heaven Tower, and so am I. Yi Shang smiled and said. Then Lin Yuandao and the Tianjin Tower's people laughed. Knight Sorrow was from Tianjin Tower. That was enough. The Tianjin Tower would take the lion's share of the benefits. Knight Sorrow also told everyone not to stay here, and not to wait for the spatial storm to dissipate. Even if the spatial storm dissipated, no one would be able to get close to the heaven-sealing hall. The 1000 development illusory formation and the killing formation were the clear sky saint's consummate skills. Even a saint wouldn't be able to break it if their formation skills weren't good enough. Then the group left the island. Some of them went to the Tianji Tower, while others went to Sky City. Wu Lingfei also followed Knight Sorrow to Sky City. Aunt Fei, there's nothing in the Eastern Xian region. You can stay here with me, said Knight Sorrow. Haha, actually I didn't tell you. My spiritual avatar is in the Eastern Xian region. If there's anything I'll take care of it, said Wu Lingfei. After saying that, Wu Lingfei was stunned. She had inadvertently glanced at Night Sorrow's waist. She saw that the pouch that had been holding Night Sorrow's spiritual avatar had disappeared. Yishang also looked at his waist. He had no choice but to give up on this matter. There was nothing he could do about it. Where did your spiritual avatar go? Who attacked you? Wu Lingfei's expression turned cold. Killing chi could be felt. It's in the heaven sealing hall. Other than Night Moon, there's only you here. There's no one else. I'll tell you what I saw this time. In the future, we'll all need to work together. Night Sorrow sighed. He told her about the 9 regions' origin energy and the clear sky Saint King's words. He also told her about what had happened before Night Moon. Ancestor is so pitiful. Night Xinyue wiped the corner of her eyes. The other women also had sparkling tears in their eyes. I obtained his inheritance. Furthermore, as a descendant of the Night clan, if there's a chance, I'll get justice for my ancestor. I'll get justice for my ancestor and Night Moon, said Night Sorrow. This isn't your responsibility alone. It's the responsibility of the entire Night clan. It's the responsibility of the Night Moon dynasty. We'll remember the Heavenly South dynasty. Our Night Moon dynasty will rise again, said Yi Linghuan to Night Sorrow. We can't rush this matter. No matter what, we have to stabilize the 9 regions world first. With a stable backer, we can fight however we want. Using our 9 regions world Saint crystals as materials is a great humiliation to us, said Wu Lingfei. Grandfather knows the name of the profound mysteries realm. I also know its general location. It should be in the western nether region, said Yi Linghuan after thinking for a moment. The clear sky Saint King said that they've always wanted to attack our 9 regions world. That's one of the reasons why our 9 regions world is unstable. If we can find a spatial channel, we'll kill our way in. We won't give them a chance to attack us, said Night Sorrow. All right. You don't need to worry about that. Grandfather will go investigate, said Yi Linghuan. In addition, our family's Night Moon Sea needs to be strengthened. If the profound sky world starts a war with our 9 regions world before I can fix it, then our high-level cultivators will have to retreat, said Night Sorrow to Yi Linghuan. I'll take care of that. Don't worry, Night Sorrow. There'll be a stable backup for you here, said Night Sorrow. Tianji Tower was founded by Sage King Xuedao. I'll have to ask Grand Elder Xie and Lord Lin Ke about the Xuedao sky. I'll also have to make some arrangements. As for the Jiyu family, although I don't want to resolve it, for the sake of the 9 regions world, it'll be best if it can be resolved, said Night Sorrow. After making some arrangements, Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei rushed to Tianji Tower. He had to communicate with Tianji Tower. After all, the 9 regions world was in a difficult situation. It was best to make as many preparations as possible. The 6th update has arrived. Please be more tolerant. Do not directly open your mouth to attack. At this moment in Qingtian City, Jiyu family's mansion, Jiyu Hao kicked a woman out of the room. Night Sorrow, I'll definitely kill you. Sikong Chiyu is mine. Jiyu Hao roared angrily after kicking the woman out of the room. How? This has become a sore point for you. You can't go on like this. Jiyu Fenglan appeared in front of Jiyu Hao's room. Grandfather, this isn't a sore point. It's a motivation. For this goal, I'll work hard to cultivate. When I become a high-level venerable, I'll kill him, said Jiyu Hao through gritted teeth. Chapter 809. Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei entered the secret tower of Tianji Tower. The big shots of Tianji Tower were all there, including the Grand Elder. Grand Elder, I'm sorry. Night Sorrow bowed to the Grand Elder. Yishang, Grand Elder has already spoken to Martial Uncle. You don't have to apologize. Martial Uncle is already very happy that you can still think of him after 3 years, said Grand Elder. Grand Elder can understand. Night Sorrow is very sincere. Night Sorrow nodded. Sit down and talk. I think you have something to say. Xie Lanjun pointed at the chair next to Lin Yuandao. I learned something when I went to the Heaven Sealing Hall. Tianji Tower was founded by the Sage King of the Void Dao. Do Grand Elder and Lord K know about the Void Dao sky? Night Sorrow asked Xie Lanjun and Lin Yuandao. You know about the Void Dao sky? Lin Yuandao looked at Night Sorrow with some surprise. It seems that Lord K knows about it. Otherwise he wouldn't be so surprised. Knight Sorrow looked at Lin Yuandao's expression and knew the answer. The people here are the core of Tianji Tower. Lord K, please tell us. Xiaolongjun nodded to Lin Yuandao. Lin Yuandao looked at them and said, the Void Dao Sky is Tianji Tower's biggest secret. Only the K Lords are qualified to know about it. It's a small world. It's the place where Tianji Tower retreats at the most critical moment. In other words, as long as the Void Dao Sky exists, Tianji Tower will not be destroyed. We have to speed up the construction. That way, even if the 9 zones suffer a disaster, Tianji Tower will still have a place to stand, said Knight Sorrow. I'll take care of that. Yishang, don't be too stressed. Also, you can make decisions about the Empyrean Terminus Tower. There are some things you can decide. If you want to fight, the Empyrean Terminus Tower will be your shield, said Xiaolongjun. We want to fight. Knight Sorrow then said that he wanted to declare war on the Profound Mysteries realm, and that Yi Linghuan had gone to investigate. All right, Xiaolongjun said. We can fight whenever we want. Right now, the realm of Eastern Xian, the realm of Northern Sea, the realm of Unbounded Desolation, the realm of Grand Clarity, and the realm of Southern Li are all under our control. The realm of Sanyuan and the realm of Taiyue don't have much battle prowess. The Qingtian domain is currently the problem with Jiyu's clan. Lord K. Lord, can you help me arrange a meeting with them? I'll go talk to them. If it can be resolved, I'm willing to do so. In the face of the greater good, personal grudges are nothing. I'm willing to take a step back, said Knight Sorrow. All right, I'll go arrange it now. Wait for the news. Lin Yuandao stood up and left the secret tower. Knight Sorrow, you've done well. You've looked at the big picture. Others will only admire your magnanimity. A benevolent person must have a heart of forgiveness. Xiaolongjun looked at Knight Sorrow with admiration. An hour later, Lin Yuandao returned. He told everyone that Jiyu Fenglan and the elders of Jiyu's clan were waiting at Tianji Tower's Qingtian City branch. I won't be going. K Lord Wu K Lord and Taishu K Lord accompany Knight Sorrow. It's necessary to resolve the conflict, but we can't wrong Knight Sorrow, said Xiaolongjun to Lin Yuandao, Wu Lingfei and Taishu Quebec. Then, under Lin Yuandao's lead, the 4 of them arrived at Tianji Tower's Qingtian City branch. In the lobby of Tianji Tower's branch, Jiyu Fenglan sat in the middle on the left. There were several people standing behind him, including Jiyu Hao. After Yi Shang and the other 3 entered, they also sat down across from the others. Lin Yuandao, I want to know something. Is Tianji Tower involved in this matter? Jiyu Fenglan looked at Lin Yuandao. Tianji Tower is the middleman this time, said Lin Yuandao. Since Tianji Tower is the middleman, then it's easy to talk about it. Knight Sorrow, what do you mean? Jiyu Fenglan's eyes were filled with hostility as he looked at Wu Lingfei. Then at Knight Sorrow. The 9 regions are unstable right now. It's best if we can turn hostility into friendship. After all, the civil war will consume the strength of the 9 regions, said Knight Sorrow. If you want to resolve it, then hand over Sikong Chiyu. You must hand him over. Jiyu Hao pointed at Knight Sorrow and roared. Pa! One of Knight Sorrow's armrests shattered. Suppressing his anger, Knight Sorrow looked at Jiyu Fenglan. Patriarch Jiyu, is this your Jiyu clan's intention? This is my young master's sore point. If you want to resolve it, then it's best to resolve it. Jiyu Fenglan supported Jiyu Hao's point of view. From today onwards, I, Knight Sorrow, and your Jiyu clan will not rest until one of us is dead. Take this. Knight Sorrow stood up, his robe fluttering in the wind. He was extremely angry. Just one woman? Jiyu clan can give you 10 outstanding women. Jiyu Fenglan looked at Knight Sorrow and said. Scram. Knight Sorrow waved his hand and smashed the tea table in front of him into pieces. Jiyu Fenglan, Knight Sorrow wants to resolve the conflict, but you're digging your own grave. Wu Lingfei was also angry because Jiyu clan had no bottom line. Let's see what you're going to say. Haha, is that so? I know that with your help, the Yeyue clan killed the 7-star saint. But let me tell you, because of the influence of the overall situation of the 9 regions, the golden light that filled the sky attracted the attention of our Jiyu clan's great ancestor. Now, The great ancestor of the Jiyu clan has returned from the Central State Prefecture. If you want to fight, then attack and try. Jiyu Fenglan laughed loudly and left the Heaven's Terminus Tower with his men. Knight Sorrow closed his eyes and exhaled, calming himself down. Negotiating with trash? I'm asking for humiliation. Let's fight. Later, I'll ask our spies in Jiyu clan and see what cultivation base their ancestor has. Lin Yuandao said with a cold face. The young master of Tianji Tower had lowered himself to negotiate with Jiyu clan. Lin Yuandao couldn't accept such humiliation. After Lin Yuandao left, Knight Sorrow still hadn't calmed down. He knew that being impulsive wouldn't solve the problem. In addition, his impulsiveness would involve a lot of things, such as the Night Moon dynasty behind him, Tianji Tower, Eastern Profound Region, and so on. Knight Sorrow, wait for the news. If we can't deal with that guy, then I'll ask Long Xianxing to come out. After all, he owes you a favor. Wu Lingfei could understand the anger in Knight Sorrow's heart. If Xueshi can't deal with the opponent's saint, then I'll pay the price to ask Long Xianxing to come out. I'll definitely vent my anger. Knight Sorrow nodded. Then Knight Sorrow and Wu Lingfei returned to the city in the sky. However, he went directly to the lake to cultivate and didn't tell anyone about it. Knight Sorrow casually ate 2 mouthfuls of dinner and went to the secret cultivation room. What's wrong? He's not in a good mood. Sikong Chuyu looked in the direction of Knight Sorrow's secret cultivation room and said. Wu Lingfei looked at the girls, nodded to Yu Qing, and went to her own pavilion. He's been wronged. I'll see how it goes later. Wu Lingfei knew that Jiyu clan had really angered Knight Sorrow this time. Otherwise, Knight Sorrow wouldn't have asked for Long Xuanqing's help. Chapter 8-10. 6 days later, Lin Yuandao came to the city in the sky to see Knight Sorrow. At the same time, he told Knight Sorrow that he didn't know the name of the old ancestor of the Jiyu family. He claimed to be King Ji, who had become famous earlier than Xielanjun. He was very likely to be a high-level saint. Thank you, Master Quebec. I understand. Knight Sorrow cupped his hands to Lin Yuandao. How do you plan to fight? Tianji Tower will fully cooperate with you. Lin Yuandao expressed his stance. The Empyrean Peak Tower would not tolerate bullying the young master of the Empyrean Peak Tower. I'll think about it first. If there's a need, I'll inform Master K, Knight Sorrow said. Lin Yuandao left. Knight Sorrow sat on the wooden boat and took out a jar of wine. At the same time, he transferred Xueshi out of the space-time pagoda. At this time, Wu Lingfei and Yu Qing came. They knew that Lin Yuandao had come. The appearance of a saint brought a strong sense of opportunity. Knight Sorrow nodded to Wu Lingfei and Yu Qing. He looked at Xueshi and asked, How much do you know about King Ji? Not much different from my peak. I've seen him once. At that time, we were both peak venerables. Then 200 years later, I became a saint. After becoming a saint, my cultivation speed has been maintained at a high speed. There's no reason for him to cultivate faster than me, Xueshi said. Knight Sorrow lowered his head and thought about what to do next. He wouldn't take this lying down. Knight Sorrow, I'll go and see what that guy's cultivation level is. After I find out, you can make a decision. After saying that, Xueshi flashed and left the lake. If the other party is strong, she will be in danger. Wu Lingfei looked at Knight Sorrow and said, No, she has cultivated the wind essence body and can use the wind essence escape. It's almost impossible to hurt or kill her, Knight Sorrow said. Wu Lingfei nodded. She knew what was going on with Xueshi, as well as her talent. Yu Qing asked Knight Sorrow what had happened. Knight Sorrow thought for a moment and then told Yu Qing, You've gone too far. After hearing Knight Sorrow's words, Yu Qing's face turned pale with anger. Mother, don't worry. If this Ji Wangxing is strong, I'll go talk to Long Xianxing and ask him to step forward. If not, I'll just wait. Xueshi's strength is rising quickly as well. Knight Sorrow said. Yu Qing nodded her head. She knew that they were currently competing with the best of their strength. Night Moon did not have any high-level saints, which was his weakness. For days later, Xueshi returned. She had investigated thoroughly and found that King Saint Ji was a 7-star saint. His cultivation was comparable to hers back then. A 7-star saint is not a big problem. He can even fight against Supreme Elder Xia. Defeating him is not a problem. The key is whether or not he can be killed, Wu Lingfei said. Cool unique and Nkhi all D is T pirated 0 N Night Sorrow. I'm sorry. I'm not his opponent now. My cultivation can't be raised in a short time. Xueshi said apologetically. Don't worry. Go back and rest first. Night Sorrow sent Xueshi back into the Time Pagoda. At this time, Lin Yuandao and Xie Lanjun had also arrived at Sky City and the lake. Night Sorrow, what do you plan to do? I can fight. This is too much. Xie Lanjun expressed her attitude. Xie Lanjun had always been committed to the peace of the 9 regions, and she had done so over the years. Yi Shang was magnanimous enough to resolve the grudges, and she was very gratified. She was the first to find out that Yi Shang had been humiliated. I plan to see Long Xuanqing's opinion. If I do, I'll kill him, Night Sorrow said. Xie Lanjun nodded because she was not confident in killing King Saint Ji. After that, Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei left Sky City and went directly to Eastern Xian region. When the two of them arrived at the Eastern Icefield, Long Xianxing appeared in front of the two of them. Is there a problem? Long Xianxing looked at Wu Lingfei and Night Sorrow and asked. Wu Lingfei was the region lord of Eastern Xian region, and Night Sorrow was the most outstanding youth in Eastern Xian region. Both of them were highly valued by Long Xianxing. Now that both of them were here, Long Xianxing naturally knew that there was a problem. Senior, I would like to ask you to kill someone for me. I can accept the price, Night Sorrow said. Let's not talk about the price. As long as you don't lose out, and as long as the other party deserves to die, I'll do it, Long Xianxing said. Before Night Sorrow said anything, Wu Lingfei said the reason. Hee, to think that they would dare to bully the people of the Eastern Profound region. How interesting. This seat is willing to take action. Long Xianxing spoke and explained the reason. Night Sorrow had a taboo title, and naturally, he had the luck of the 9 regions. Helping Night Sorrow would only bring him benefits. Long Xianxing did not agree at first because he was worried that Night Sorrow would lose out. He could not help Night Sorrow and hurt his own virtue. But now that he knew that Night Sorrow was not wrong, he was naturally willing to help. Long Xianxing then told Night Sorrow that he did not need to worry about King Saint Ji. After 7 days, Night Sorrow could lead people to attack Ji Yu's family. Night Sorrow took out 3 Saint Spirit Stones and said, I can't let Senior work for nothing. Please accept this small gift. You little brat, you really think highly of me. But I don't need it now. You should keep it. Long Xuanqing's body flashed, and he disappeared in the direction of Eastern Xian City. Night Sorrow, you can rest assured. Western Nether region's heavenly underworld saint is very powerful. He's a peak saint, but he was still suppressed by Long Xianxing. King Saint Ji is only a 7-star saint, so he can die, Wu Lingfei said. In that case, I'll go back and prepare for the attack. Night Sorrow wanted nothing more than to kill Ji Yuhao immediately. Ji Yuhao had been nurtured by Ji Yu's family, and his strength had risen at a terrifying speed. He was already a 6th level venerable. But Night Sorrow was not afraid. He had even defeated 7th level venerables in the heaven-sealing Great Hall. To others, Ji Yuhao's 6th level venerable was very terrifying. Even 7th level venerables, or even 8th level venerables, would not be willing to face him, because their attributes would be suppressed, and they would not be able to fight. However, the situation was different for Yi Shang. Ji Yuhao was a level 6 venerables, but he was only slightly stronger than an ordinary level 6 venerables. Ji Yuhao's element advantage was useless against Yi Shang. On the contrary, Ji Yuhao's element advantage was suppressed by Yi Shang. Auntie Fei will also mobilize some people. Ji Yuhao was arrogant that day, because he thought the force behind him was stronger than you. You're not weaker than him. You have Auntie Fei, Eastern Xian region, Tianji Tower, and Night Moon Dynasty. Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow, then pulled Night Sorrow and flew towards Eastern Xian City. In Sky City, Yu Qing, who knew about Night Sorrow's humiliation, informed her husband. Yi Wuyo was furious when he heard about it. Yi Linghuan was not there, so Yi Wuyo contacted the emperors and told them about his intention to fight. Chapter 8:11. Thank you, uncles, for your support of Wuyo. Knight Sorrow has suffered too much. As his father, I can't bear to let him bear it alone. It's our family that has dragged Night Moon down. Yi Wuyo pulled Yu Qing and bowed to the 4 emperors. Wuyo, if you choose to bear with it, then Grandpa will be disappointed. Perhaps that's the overall situation. But you've lost the backbone of the Night Moon people. So what if you know you're no match for them? We Night Moon people dare to fight the world. Yi Shunxian, the previous leader of the Night Moon, said. Where's Night Sorrow? He's gone again. Why didn't he tell the family about such an important matter? The family can make the decision for him. Yi Xinyue looked at Yu Qing and said. He went to the Eastern Xian domain with Lord Wu Kei to ask for Long Xuanqing's opinion. Tianji Tower supports him. Yu Qing said. With the support of the Extreme Heaven Tower, that goes without saying. That blue-robed everlasting saint has no problem suppressing a 7-star saint. Yi Shenquang said. Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei arrived at the Empyrean Tower and saw Xie Lanjun and Lin Yuandao there. The other giants were nowhere to be seen. The Tianji Tower's men are ready. This time, they've joined forces with the Xikong clan and several Qingtian domain families. After the war starts, we'll wipe out Jiyu's family from the Qingtian domain. Lin Yuandao said. Lin Yuandao had discussed with Xie Lanjun and a few others and decided to support the Xikong clan of Bailing City to take over the Qingtian domain. Therefore, they made some arrangements. Senior Long Xianxing has decided to help me. He'll deal with Ji Wangsheng. We'll start the war in 7 days. Night Sorrow said. The men of Dongxian City and Tianji Tower of the Eastern Xian domain will gather in Taiyue domain in a day. Wu Lingfei revealed her deployment. The Night Moon Empire is not good at the saint level. Apart from that, it is the best in the 9 zones in all other aspects. That way, there is no need to mobilize more people. That would be making a mountain out of a molehill. Xie Lanjun said. After deciding that the battle would begin in 7 days, Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei returned to Sky City together. After entering the mansion, Night Sorrow was met with Night God Thunder's furious roar. This was because there was something Night Sorrow hadn't told his family. Shang, or you are the young master of Night Moon. You can give up everything for the family, and the family can also be your most solid support. Even if the family is destroyed, you will not hesitate. This is the tradition of Night Moon. In the future, if you have any problems, just tell the family. This time, I'll have to trouble Master Wu Kei again. Yi Shunxian stood up and said a few words to Night Sorrow, then cupped his hands towards Wu Lingfei. You are too polite, Emperor Shunxian. Night Sorrow is my family, Wu Lingfei said. You are back. That means you have a plan. Tell everyone. Yi Wuyo asked Night Sorrow to sit beside him. Then, Night Sorrow explained the current situation. You solved it yourself again. The family has become a decoration again. Night God Thunder muttered. No, we still need Night Moon to fight. We won't give them a chance to breathe. We will directly wipe out Jiyu's family from the 9 zones world. Night Sorrow's hatred grew. He had kindly asked for reconciliation, but he had been humiliated. How could he not hate and be angry? Haha, Shang, or you took us to the Heaven Sealing Palace and used up a lot of spirit stones. This time, I will get them back for you. Night God Moon said with a smile. Night God Moon had never married. Night Moon's children were her children. After seeing Night Sorrow, she especially liked him. Thank you, Great Aunt. A smile appeared on Night Sorrow's face. He felt very warm in his heart. No matter how dangerous the situation was, the family was standing behind him. After chatting for a while, Night Moon's emperors went to work. Yi Wuyo also left to gather people. Then Yu Qing told Night Sorrow that even though the situation was not good, Night Moon's emperors had decided to support him to the end. She wanted Night Sorrow to believe in the family. The Yi family was the most united family. Mother, it's all my fault. I brought trouble to Night Sorrow and the family. Xikong Chiyu, who had been standing beside Yang Lei and Aoi, wiped the tears from the corner of his eyes and said, How is it your fault? It's because you are too outstanding that they wanted to take advantage of you. Don't worry, no one will dare to do that in the future. Yu Qing held Xikong Chiyu's hand and said, Thank you, mother. Xikong Chiyu nodded. Then everyone chatted and drank tea. With Long Xuanqing's help, the direction of the war was basically set. There was nothing for them to worry about. Chu Yu, 9th senior sister, 6th senior sister. When you improve your cultivation base, pay attention to your actual combat power and the improvement of your soul power. 3 years later, I will bring all of you to the heaven-conferring palace to take the test for the title. Knight Sorrow said while drinking tea. Great. If there's a chance, we must seize it. Yang Lei said excitedly. She and Sikong Chiyu were both at the peak of the 8th Void Inquiry stage. But I can't. It's still too early for me. Aoi was anxious. Don't worry. It's still 3 years. 6th senior sister can do it. Knight Sorrow said with a smile. H+8 after that, Sikong Chiyu told him that Ling Long was a little depressed because she did not get the title for the past few days. Knight Sorrow thought for a while and went to the martial arts arena. In the arena, everyone was cultivating. The one who worked the hardest and was almost in a state of madness was Ling Long. Gather. Knight Sorrow shouted. As soon as Knight Sorrow's voice fell, the members of the god-slaying squad quickly gathered together. Ling Long, come out. Knight Sorrow called out to Ling Long, I'm sorry. I've disappointed the leader. I've embarrassed the god-slaying squad. Ling Long, who took 2 steps forward, said, The current you is the one who has disappointed me. What's wrong with failing once? If you know where you're lacking, just cultivate it. It's not difficult to defeat the enemy. What's difficult is to defeat yourself. Your current situation shows that your mental state isn't up to standard. Knight Sorrow looked at Ling Long and said, Ling Long will continue to work hard. Ling Long bowed slightly to Knight Sorrow. There will be battles in the next few days. Can you still participate in them? Knight Sorrow looked at Ling Long. Of course. What kind of battle will it be? Who will I be fighting? Ling Long's eyes lit up. She felt stifled and wanted to vent. I've been humiliated, so I've decided to fight back. I need my brothers and sisters to fight alongside me. Does anyone have any questions? Knight Sorrow glanced at Ling Long, and then called out to the rest of the god-slaying squad. The response to Knight Sorrow was the sound of armor being knocked and cheered. Then everyone should prepare for battle. Also, I can see that you've all been cultivating impatiently. Your mental state isn't right. 9th senior apprentice sister, Chiyu, have everyone practice sculpting over the next few days to adjust your mental state. Knight Sorrow said to Yang Lei and Sikong Chiyu. After Knight Sorrow left, the members of the god-slaying team took out their own carving tools. Something has been wrong these past few days. Everyone was provoked by Yin Huang and Liang Yu's titles. Now that we heard the leader's words, we understood, said Ho Jian. Chapter 8:12. It doesn't matter who it is. What's important is that he must die. We have to fight back. The person who insulted Captain is dead, said Yin Huang. When he heard that Knight Sorrow had been insulted, Yin Huang was furious. His brother being insulted was no different from him being insulted. Let's just get ready to fight. Xue Ling waved his sword. Q over you. I think we should all focus on carving. You've already lost the calmness you should have, said Yang Lei. Knight Sorrow and Xue were cultivating by the lake. Knight Sorrow wasn't far from the 5th star Venerable Realm, while Xue was also trying to break through to the 5th star Venerable Realm. Their cultivations had improved very quickly, but they didn't suffer from the drawbacks of having an unstable foundation. Besides tempering themselves in actual combat, their cultivations had been tempered and stabilized in the spatial storms of the realm ocean, so their foundations were extremely solid. All this time, my goal in life has been to suppress some people and have more authority in the 9 realms. But after meeting you, I realized that my previous thoughts were too shallow and childish. There are too many wonderful things waiting for us, said Xue as she looked at Knight Sorrow, who had finished his meditation and stood up. Yes, after dealing with the Qingtian realm, only the Western Nether realm is left. We can't follow the 9 realms' footsteps. But this matter can't be rushed, said Knight Sorrow. After entering Supreme Sky City and learning some things, Knight Sorrow had a big dream in his heart. He wanted to take revenge, but because of his strength, he couldn't realize it. First of all, if he wanted to unify the 9 realms, he needed prestige and deterrence. And if he wanted prestige and deterrence, he needed strength. On the 5th day of Night Sorrow's return, Lin Yuandao came with Long Xiansheng. That guy, this king has taken care of him for you. Previously, this king said that he would get you an ancient book, but after sorting it out, it wasn't very suitable. This time, after killing King Ji, I did get something. One of them is a cultivation technique. It's the central state scripture, which can be cultivated to the Saint King realm. It's the ancient book of the central state Saint King. The other one is a soul doppelganger. It's called the 3 Yuan doppelganger. However, if you want to cultivate it, you must be careful and act according to your strength. Cultivating a soul doppelganger is very harmful to your soul. Thank you, Senior Long Xiansheng. You don't need the scripture. You can give me a copy, said Night Sorrow. I don't need it. Our Dragon Turtle clan has a talent cultivation technique. Long Xiansheng shook his head. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow understood that Long Xiansheng really didn't need it. Then he kept the scripture. You have a good place here. I will not disturb you in the future. Arrange the battle, said Long Xiansheng. After Long Xiansheng left, Night Sorrow informed the current leaders of Night Moon, Yi Wuyo and Yi Shenxian, to gather the troops. In addition, he communicated with Lin Yuandao and Wu Lingfei. Night Moon would be the main attacker, and the other two groups would kill from the periphery. As for the resources obtained by Night Moon, they would be divided equally with Tianji Tower and Eastern Xian region. That's not necessary. It's hard to fight the headquarters. Each side can collect the resources of the cities. Lin Yuandao said, We are fighting this war to vent our anger. As for the resources, it doesn't matter. Wu Lingfei also expressed her opinion. At this time, no one would care about the resources. One had to know that Night Sorrow had provided a lot of dragon spirit pills to Tianji Tower and Eastern Xian region. If they were to care about the resources with Night Sorrow, it would be unreasonable. Yishang, wait for Auntie Fei. Auntie Fei will make some arrangements and come back with you. Over there is Jiyu Fenglan, Auntie Fei's old enemy. Auntie Fei wants to kill him personally. Wu Lingfei said to Yishang. Then I will wait for Aunt Fei. We will set off when Aunt Fei comes back. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that Wu Lingfei and Jiyu Fenglan had a deep hatred. At this time, in Jiyu family's mansion, Jiyu Fenglan's face was gloomy. How take the family's juniors and hide first. The other side is really going to fight. The old ancestor left 2 days ago and hasn't come back. The old ancestor is a high-level saint. Is there anyone who can threaten his safety? Ji Yuhao frowned and asked. The everlasting saint of the celestial terminus tower is slightly stronger than the old ancestor. She can't kill him, but she can entangle the old ancestor. In that case, we won't be able to contend with the other saints. The spies reported that they have gathered their forces and are going to fight to the death with all their might. This is something that grandfather didn't expect. Jiyu Fenglan said with a cold face. Night Sorrow, it's that damn Night Sorrow. Ji Yuhao's face was ferocious, and his hatred for Night Sorrow was monstrous. Before Night Sorrow's name appeared, everything was going smoothly for Ji Yuhao. He could be said to be the son of heaven, and he could get whatever he wanted. But everything changed after Night Sorrow appeared. Ji Yu family was constantly attacked, and now they even had to hide from Night Sorrow's limelight. Take the younger generation of the family to the Central Province Prefecture. Memorize the formation map and the route, then destroy them. Jiyu Fenglan said to Ji Yuhao. I understand. Ji Yuhao thought for a moment and nodded. He wasn't a brainless person. Also, take Su Mu with you. That kid can be trained. He'll be a good assistant. Jiyu Fenglan waved his hand at Ji Yuhao. In fact, Jiyu Fenglan knew that he had really gone too far this time. He shouldn't have supported his grandson's unreasonable request. Asking for someone else's woman was a slap in the face, and it wasn't the right attitude to negotiate. Mainly, he had overestimated Ji Wangxing's strength and influence. Ji Yu family's headquarters was in the south of Sky-bearing City. Night Sorrow took Wu Lingfei, Night Moon's 4 emperors, Yi Wuyo and his wife, and the members of the God-slaying team directly to the headquarters of Ji Yu family in Sky-bearing City. Start killing. Night Sorrow shouted. At the same time, He called Xuexi out and told her not to let the key figures of Jiyu family escape, and not to let any of the members of the team die. They directly rushed to the front of Jiyu family's main hall. You really dared to come here. Perhaps, our Jiyu family might not be able to fend off your attack, but you might be able to withstand the revenge of our great ancestor. It's only about a woman, and we won't mention it again. You can leave now, and I'll pretend that nothing happened today. Today, let's forget about it. Jiyu Fenglan looked at Wu Lingfei and said. He felt that if he showed his attitude, Wu Lingfei and the others would retreat. After all, the deterrence of a high-level saint wasn't fake. Your ancestors' revenge? Jiyu Fenglan, I was kind enough to negotiate with you, but you actually dared to have designs on my woman. Since you don't want face, then there's nothing more to say. Let Jiyu Hao come out. Today, I want to see how strong a 6th-level time saint is. Knight Sorrow said as he waved his reincarnation spear. Chapter 8:13. What did you say? Hearing Knight Sorrow's words, Jiyu Fenglan was stunned. If you don't understand, then I'll say it again. Ji Wangxing died because of your shamelessness, ignorance, and arrogance. You even injured both sides. I won't give your Jiyu family the chance to do so. Kill. Yi Shan waved his reincarnation spear and gave the order to fight. Following Knight Sorrow's order, Knight Sorrow's people charged in all directions like blooming flowers. You deserve to die. Jiyu Fenglan waved his long sword and charged towards Knight Sorrow. You're still acting shamelessly at a time like this? I'm your opponent. Wu Lingfei waved her saint-grade sword and stood in front of Knight Sorrow, then started fighting with Jiyu Fenglan. Xuexi, check if Jiyu Hao is in Jiyu family's mansion. If he is, catch him for me. Knight Sorrow shouted to Xuexi, who was standing behind him. Yi Wuyo and Yu Qing didn't move, mainly because they were worried about their son's safety. Father, mother, you should go stretch your muscles too. It won't be easy for anyone to kill me. Knight Sorrow said while watching the battle between Wu Lingfei and Jiyu Fenglan. JMOI New Chapter A section are above and cool, X after hearing Knight Sorrow's words. Yu Wuyo joined the battle and started killing Jiyu family's cultivators. Yu Qing was still standing beside Knight Sorrow. After a while Xuexi came back. She shook her head at Knight Sorrow. She didn't find Jiyu Hao. You want to destroy my Jiyu family? You think too much. My Jiyu family is prepared for war. We've already moved the core of our family. Just wait for my grandson, a cultivator of the time attribute, to take revenge. Jiyu Fenglan's cold voice said something that Knight Sorrow didn't expect. He dares to think about my woman. As long as he shows up, I'll definitely kill him. If he doesn't, then he can only live like a dog. Knight Sorrow said coldly. All along, Knight Sorrow felt that he was in a good mood. But this time he couldn't stay calm. Jiyu family's young ones were shameless, and the old ones were not virtuous. Therefore he wanted to kill them all. After a while, the 4 emperors of Night Moon's dynasty came back. They went back and forth in and out of Jiyu family's mansion. The members of the god-slaying squad also appeared, carrying some boxes. They had trained themselves to the point of perfection when it came to robbing. Xuexi, be careful. Don't let him escape. Yi Shang reminded Xuexi when he saw Wu Lingfei suppressing Jiyu Fenglan. Xuexi's swords, Xuexi said. Xuexi. Jiyu Fenglan's element was very strong. It was the power of space, while Wu Lingfei's was the life element. There was no suppression between the two. In terms of cultivation, Jiyu Fenglan had just entered the saint realm, and was a 1-star saint. Wu Lingfei was already a 2-star saint. They were not on the same level at all. As for fighting skills, Wu Lingfei used to be an invincible venerable, and her speed was extremely fast. In addition, she also had the mutated frozen space, which was a combination of life and ice attributes. It was extremely powerful, and had completely restricted Jiyu Fenglan. If Jiyu Fenglan didn't have the power of space, which allowed him to break the frozen space, he would have been killed long ago. After a quarter of an hour, Jiyu Fenglan had consumed too much energy. His body was continuously hit by Wu Lingfei's sword. He wanted to run, but Wu Lingfei's frozen space was the bane of his speed. Wu Lingfei had the advantage in terms of cultivation base, fighting skills, and mid-grade saint weapon. Therefore Jiyu Fenglan was no match for her at all. After holding on for a short while, Wu Lingfei's sword qi penetrated his chest, and even the dragon bones on his back were broken. Jiyu Fenglan, who had fallen to the ground, glared at Yi Shang with eyes full of anger. Xueshi sighed. She had originally wanted to help Jiyu Fenglan, but she hadn't expected such an outcome. Save me. Hearing Xueshi's sigh, Jiyu Fenglan raised his head. He recognized Xueshi from her voice. I gave you the path to become a saint, but you cut off your own path. You shouldn't have gone against Night Sorrow, and you shouldn't have insulted Night Sorrow. I came this time to kill you, but there's no need for me to do anything, said Xueshi. Why is that? Jiyu Fenglan didn't understand. There aren't so many whys in the world. Since you cut off your own path, I had no choice. Xueshi turned around, no longer looking at Jiyu Fenglan. You invaded my eastern Xian region twice, and now you're insulting my Golden Phoenix family. You're the one who walked into a dead end. Who can you blame? Wu Lingfei's hand trembled, and a beam of sword qi streaked across Jiyu Fenglan's head, shattering his spirit sea. Wu Lingfei's arm trembled, and she took Jiyu Fenglan's spatial ring and saint crystals. She then threw them to Night Sorrow. She had come to help, so she naturally wouldn't accept spoils of war or resources. Night Sorrow also bent down and took Jiyu Fenglan's sword. It was a spatial spirit artifact. The battle had ended, but Night Sorrow wasn't satisfied. He hadn't killed Jiyu Hao. He knew that Jiyu Hao would always be a scourge. However, with the destruction of Jiyu's family, Jiyu Hao's threat had become smaller and smaller. The members of the God-slaying squad sent all the resources to Night Sorrow. Take a third of the God-slaying squad and leave the rest to the Divine Moon Emperor, said Night Sorrow to Nan Liyue. Yes. Nan Liyue and the two vice-captains of the God-slaying squad nodded. Night Xinyue wanted to say something, but Yi Shenxian stopped her. 2 hours later, Tianji Tower and the Sikong family's people arrived at Jiyu's family mansion. At this time, the Jiyu family's forces in the Qingtian region had been wiped out. Father-in-law, you can take over the Jiyu family's headquarters. However, you have to be careful. Although the older generation of the Jiyu family has been killed, there are still some survivors, especially a 6th-rank venerable with the time attribute. If he appears, inform me, said Night Sorrow to Sikong Tianding. Don't worry. The Qingtian region will put out a bounty for the survivors of the Jiyu family. As long as they appear, they will be killed, said Sikong Tianding. The battle strength of a time venerable is astonishing. It's best to arrange for experts to guard this place, said Night Sorrow to the Sikong family once again before returning to Sky City with his people. After arriving at Sky City, Night Sorrow handed the Space Attribute Saint Crystal and the Space Attribute Mid-Grade Spirit Artifact to Yi Wuyo. As for what Yi Wuyo would do with it, Night Sorrow didn't care. Sitting on a chair in the mansion, Night Sorrow knocked on the table and pondered. He was thinking about the Jiyu family. What else do you not understand? Xie Lanjun and Lin Yuandao entered Night Sorrow's mansion. Where is the Central Province Prefecture? I think it's where the survivors of the Jiyu family are hiding. I must kill Jiyu Hao. As for the Central Province Prefecture, it must be under my control. It's related to where we can retreat in the future war, said Night Sorrow. That's the absolute core secret of the Jiyu family. It's not something ordinary members can know. It's just like how important Night Moon Sea is to the Night Moon Dynasty, and how important the Su Dao Sky is to Tianji Tower, said Xie Lanjun. If we don't solve this problem, it will always be a hidden danger, said Night Sorrow. Chapter 8:14. Tianji Tower will investigate this matter, said Lin Yuandao. Ziku Fa looking at Night Sorrow, Lin Yuandao felt that Night Sorrow had changed. Night Sorrow now had the aura of a leader, and he was decisive in killing. His aura had already been formed. After chatting for a while, Tianji Tower's people left. Night Moon Dynasty's people also returned to Night Moon City. Eldest brother, we shouldn't have taken the resources this time. Why didn't you let me speak? Said Yi Shenyue when they arrived at the main hall of the unfalling Night Moon City. Haven't you noticed? Shang-Er's king aura is becoming denser and denser. He already has the aura of a leader. What we need to do now is support him and let him become a true king. His words are just orders, said Yi Shenxian. That's true. He's changed a bit from when we first met him. Yi Xinyue nodded. Although he's young, he can already influence the majority of the 9 regions. This is something no one else can do. Even the leader of a faction can't do this, said Yi Shenxian. The constant battles had allowed Night Sorrow's strength to increase. His aura had also begun to form. Xie Longjun had also told Lin Yuandao about this matter in the secret tower of the Empyrean Terminus Tower. They couldn't hurt Yi Shang's momentum. Whatever decision Yi Shang made, the Empyrean Terminus Tower would fully support it. Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei were drinking tea on a wooden boat by the lake. Aunt Fei, thank you for this, said Night Sorrow as he poured a cup of tea for Wu Lingfei. No need to be so courteous. You're from the Eastern Xian region. Although you didn't say it explicitly, you're no different from the Vice City Lord or Vice Region Lord. Whatever you do, the Eastern Xian region will stand behind you, right or wrong, said Wu Lingfei to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that this was Wu Lingfei's support for him, right or wrong. Right now in the 9 domains world, only the Western Nether region is unstable. They're not on the same side as everyone else, but there's nothing we can do about it, Night Sorrow said. That's not a problem. Long Xianxing has made a request. If there's a war involving the 9 regions, Heavenly Underworld Saint has agreed to participate. Wu Lingfei said. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that he had to increase his strength. He didn't know when a world war would break out. Auntie Fei, I can no longer use my soul avatar. I plan to continue cultivating my soul avatar. Long Xianxing gave me an ancient book on the 3 Yuan avatars. In other words, I can cultivate 3 soul avatars. I can still cultivate 1 more. Night Sorrow spoke his thoughts. Can your spiritual strength handle it? Asked Wu Lingfei worriedly. My soul is in a perfect state. The effects from last time have already been repaired, Night Sorrow said. Wu Lingfei nodded. She felt that if there were no drawbacks, he could cultivate it. She could help protect Night Sorrow. After talking with Wu Lingfei, Night Sorrow picked the largest Voidao stone and began to pour his spiritual strength into it. According to the 3 Yuan Avatar's foundation, he used the secret technique Wu Lingfei had taught him to cultivate the latter half. Wu Lingfei controlled the power of the law of life to envelop the entire wooden boat. The pain of splitting one's soul was unbearable. However, Night Sorrow had experienced it once before, so he could endure it. After pouring half of his spiritual strength into the Voidao stone, Night Sorrow connected with the Voidao stone's energy and began to condense his soul avatar. In the evening, Xikong Chuyu and the others saw that Night Sorrow hadn't returned, so they went to find him. Seeing this situation, they understood. Wu Lingfei assisted Night Sorrow's cultivation while telling the 3 women that Night Sorrow was fine. He just needed more time. After half a day, Night Sorrow's soul avatar formed once more. Under the Voidao stone's energy, it began to naturally condense. The pale Night Sorrow stood up and smiled at Wu Lingfei. Success, but I don't know how long it'll take. You're incomparably weak right now. You should hurry up and recover. Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow's pale face and said, Aunt Fei, tell my mother and Chiyu that I'm going into seclusion. This time it'll be longer. Night Sorrow said. Wu Lingfei nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow would need some time to recover. Nodding at Wu Lingfei, Night Sorrow's body flashed and entered the space-time pagoda. Hurry up and recover. Your body won't be able to take it if you continue like this, Xueshi said. Night Sorrow hadn't closed his spiritual strength, so she knew what was going on with Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow communicated with Xiao Kong about his situation. I'll transfer you to another level, so that you can recover faster. Xiao Kong expressed his opinion. Night Sorrow nodded at Xueshi, and then let Xiao Kong do it. As time and space changed, Night Sorrow's surroundings changed. The spatial energy was very dense. This is the 70th level. The energy here is about the same as the 60th level. It's just that there's more spatial energy. However, the spiritual strength here is also very dense. The most important thing is that there's time energy here. I can change the flow of time here. In the past, I was afraid that you wouldn't be able to take it. Now you can. What do you mean by changing the flow of time? Night Sorrow asked, puzzled. The flow of time here is doubled. 2 days here is 1 day outside. Because of the time energy here, it can only be done to this extent. After you become a saint, you can enter above the 70th level. At that time, the change in the flow of time will be even stronger. It's really heaven-defying. Then I'll start cultivating. My spiritual strength has been greatly damaged. It's very uncomfortable. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he took out the spiritual jade stool and began to meditate. Shao Kong controlled the space-time pagoda to send energy to Night Sorrow to repair his soul. Night Sorrow began to cultivate day and night as he absorbed the energy to improve and replenish his spiritual strength. Yi Wuyo gave the spatial saint crystal to his family, but the emperors let him use it so that he could enter the saint realm as soon as possible. The spatial spirit artifact was also assigned to him. In fact, everyone knew that it was given to Yi Wuyo by Night Sorrow. The members of the god-slaying team were also working hard to cultivate. Yu Qing was also in seclusion. She had the mutated source stone and dragon spirit pill that Night Sorrow had given her. These were all treasures that could quickly improve her strength. On an island in the realm sea of the Qingtian domain, there was a special space. That was the Central State Prefecture. In the Central State Prefecture, Ji Hao roared at the sky. He already knew that the Ji family had been destroyed and that their patriarch and patriarch had been killed. It could be said that he was now the person with the highest power in the Ji family, and also the person with the highest cultivation. After roaring angrily for a while, Ji Hao did not reflect on the fact that he had forced Night Sorrow into this matter. Instead, he hated Night Sorrow even more. He planned to kill Night Sorrow when he became a high-level venerable. On this day, Yi Linghuan appeared on the night moon with a cold expression. Seeing his son's ugly expression, Yi Shenxian asked, Linghuan, what's the problem? There's a problem. The profound mysteries realm acted first, and has already occupied hundreds of thousands of miles of the western nether domain. Their army is continuously sent over, Yi Linghuan said. Chapter 8:15. Life is hard to predict. I thought that the 9 regions world would be stable for a while after destroying the Ji family. I didn't expect something like this to happen again, frowned Night Shenxian. What happened while I was away? Yi Linghuan asked in surprise. What happened? Yi Linghuan asked. Night Xinyue then told him what had happened while Yi Linghuan was gone. Damn it! How dare they insult my young master Night Moon? Our spies will also go out to investigate. As long as there are any survivors of the Ji family, our Night Moon will kill them, said Yi Linghuan angrily. Night Shenxian told Yi Linghuan that they were already doing that. Now that something so big has happened in the western nether region, we need to notify the Tianji Tower. We need to see how we can gather the 9 regions world's forces and stabilize the situation, said Yi Linghuan to his family before leaving Night Moon. Night Sorrow didn't care about what was happening in the outside world. He was doing his best to recover from the damage to his soul caused by cultivating a spiritual avatar. This time, the space-time pagoda was truly heaven-defying. Not only could it help Night Sorrow cultivate his spiritual strength, but it could also provide him with energy to recover his soul. Half a month passed in the outside world. Night Sorrow's soul had once more returned to the brink of perfection. Night Sorrow decided that no matter what happened in the future, he would never cultivate a spiritual avatar again. The feeling of having a flaw in his soul was terrible, and it was very difficult to repair it. You can do it twice but not thrice. You can't do this again in the future. I feel that if you have any more flaws in your soul, it'll be very difficult to repair it to perfection. That will affect your future accomplishments, reminded Shao Kong. Night Sorrow smiled. He really didn't want to do this anymore. In truth, it wasn't something he could do just because he wanted to. A cultivation technique that could cultivate a third spiritual avatar had never appeared in the 9 regions world. Many cultivators didn't cultivate a spiritual avatar either. First of all, cultivating a spiritual avatar required powerful spiritual strength, a cultivation technique, and the most important thing was a medium. A medium was too difficult to obtain. After spending another 3 days, Night Sorrow had cultivated his soul power to the Great Circle. Next, he planned to rush his chi cultivation to the 5th-class Venerable Realm. During this period of time, Night Sorrow had not used any resources. His true energy had been steadily advancing, and there was no problem with the solidity and control of it. Using a day's time, Yishang's cultivation had successfully risen to the 5th rank supremacy. With the problem of his soul and true energy resolved, Night Sorrow returned to the 60th floor of the Space-Time Treasure Pagoda. After sizing up Night Sorrow, Xueshi said in surprise, "Not only did you recover, but you also increased your cultivation by 1 level. The effect of your cultivation is very good." "I'm fine. How are you doing?" Night Sorrow asked Xueshi. "You're not the only one who has leveled up. I have also recovered 1 level. Right now my combat power is on par with my prime. However, there is much more room for growth," Xueshi said smilingly. Night Sorrow smiled. Xueshi's increase in cultivation was a good thing for him. It would be a great help. After drinking the tea that Xueshi had brewed, Night Sorrow smiled. "It would be even better if you could help me cultivate my true energy." "Who says I can't? It's just that I haven't tried it before," Xueshi said. After that, the two of them went on the big boat. In reality, the effect of their cultivation exceeded their expectations. As Night Sorrow's true energy was too overbearing, Xueshi could only help nourish it. She could not refine the impurities and yang energy that were taken away, and could only discard them. "It's not good for you. It's really useless," Night Sorrow said. He was not someone who would harm others for his own benefit. This was not what he wanted. "It's nothing. It won't waste much time. When I cultivate my body in the future, I'll help you nourish it." Xueshi did not mind. After that, Xueshi took a bath in the Space-Time Treasure Pagoda. Night Sorrow directly entered the lake and swam for a while before returning to the wooden boat. After washing up, Xueshi also came out of the Space-Time Treasure Pagoda, and Night Sorrow returned to the mansion. "Congratulations, mother." After entering the mansion, Night Sorrow saw Yuqing and cupped his hands towards Yuqing. That was because Yuqing was already an 8th level venerable. "Son, you're also a 5th level venerable. Not bad. Cultivating an avatar has a great impact on your soul. You have to recover well," Yuqing said to Night Sorrow. "Mother, I've already fully recovered," Night Sorrow said with a smile. "Your condition is not bad. Our family is strong, so we have more ability to protect ourselves." Yuqing nodded. "It's just that my cultivation is lacking," Yinyan muttered with a smile. "You're still young. Take it slow," Night Sorrow said as he rubbed Yinyan's head. Night Sorrow then asked about his father's situation. After learning that Yi Wuyo had taken Ji Yufeng Land's Saint Crystal to break through to the Saint Realm, Night Sorrow felt relieved. In fact, Yi Wuyo was currently a half-step saint and had the ability and opportunity to enter the Saint Realm. Adding on the Saint Crystal that was compatible with his attribute, there would be no problem for him to enter the Saint Realm. While the family was drinking tea together, Yi Linghuan came to Night Sorrow's mansion. 5th level venerable, not bad. Yi Linghuan nodded to Night Sorrow and sat down. After casually chatting for a while, Yi Linghuan told him about the current situation of the war in Western Nether Territory. The large sects and families of Western Nether Territory were being suppressed and forced to retreat. "Isn't there a very strong heavenly underworld saint in Western Nether Territory?" Night Sorrow asked with a frown. He hadn't expected the war to come so quickly. "The other side has 2 peak saints. Heavenly underworld saint couldn't hold on, and went out to fight twice, but he was beaten back both times." Yi Linghuan nodded. "Then what's the reaction of Tianji Tower?" Night Sorrow asked. Yi Linghuan then told Night Sorrow that Tianji Tower's forces had already entered Western Nether Territory and notified Long Xiansheng. "That's good. That way we can stabilize the situation." Night Sorrow thought for a moment. The other side had 2 peak saints, while the other side also had 2 peak saints. They shouldn't be at a disadvantage. It's hard to say, because the other party is really strong. Grandpa got close to the battlefield once, and 3 saints surrounded Grandpa. Fortunately, Grandpa had the spatial crack, so he wasn't killed, said Yi Linghuan. "That's too shameless." Night Sorrow was a bit annoyed. Our cool air forever. W long time exempt. F fee look at Z8 small t. After that, Night Sorrow and Yi Linghuan teleported to Western Nether Territory. He wanted to know what was going on. The situation wasn't optimistic because Wu Lingfei wasn't in Sky City. In Eastern Cloud City of the Western Nether region, Yi Shang saw the saints of the 9 regions. Almost all of them were there. Night Sorrow is here. Long Xianxing nodded to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow greets Long Xianxing and seniors. Night Sorrow cupped his hands to everyone present. Then let's fight. Heavenly Underworld Saint, we were opponents in the past. This time, we'll join forces and see how strong those 2 peak saints are. Long Xianxing looked at Heavenly Underworld Saint and said, "Thank you. Although I don't get along with others and was looked down on by you and Yi Tian, I'm from the 9 regions. I have the courage to fight to the death for the 9 regions," said the white-haired Heavenly Underworld Saint. Chapter 8:16. Very good. Since you've said that, I'll think highly of you. Long Xianxing nodded to Heavenly Underworld Saint. Long Xianxing, do you think you're exaggerating? During the last God Sealing War, my Dark Island was annihilated, and only a handful of outer disciples survived. Don't doubt the bravery of my Western Nether region's people. Heavenly Underworld Saint glared at Long Xianxing. So Senior Heavenly Underworld Saint is the successor of the Dark Island? Asked Night Sorrow. What? You know about the Dark Island? Heavenly Underworld Saint looked at Night Sorrow with surprise. Yes. I owe someone a promise to go to the Dark Island. But because I'm busy and don't know much about the Western Nether region, I haven't fulfilled my promise, said Night Sorrow. Don't talk nonsense. The Dark Island is only recorded in the ancient records. After the God Sealing War, the Dark Island no longer exists. Heavenly Underworld Saint looked at Night Sorrow, as if he was a swindler. So that's how it is. Then I can't go to the Dark Island, and fulfill my promise to the Dark Spirit Saint. Night Sorrow didn't care about Heavenly Underworld Saint's gaze. What did you say? Heavenly Underworld Saint reached out to grab Night Sorrow. The spatial energy on Yi Shang's body slashed, and he dodged a few feet away, causing Heavenly Underworld Saint to grab empty air. What are you doing? Long Xianxing stood in front of Night Sorrow. Tianji Tower, the Eastern Xian region, the Night Moon Dynasty, and the Northern Sea region's Taishu all unsheathed their weapons. They wouldn't hesitate to fight anyone who dared to touch Night Sorrow. It's a misunderstanding. Put away your weapons. I was just too excited. Heavenly Underworld Saint waved his hand. First you didn't believe him, and now you're saying it's a misunderstanding. Long Xianxing frowned. Why would I attack a child? Asked Heavenly Underworld Saint. Child, he's the junior master of Tianji Tower, the young master of the Night Moon Dynasty. What status does he have in the Eastern Xian region? Long Xianxing looked at Wu Lingfei. Deputy Region Lord, Wu Lingfei said. He can represent the Qingtian region, Xikong Tianding said. It's the same for the North Sea region. The Grand Elder stood beside Night Sorrow. You don't have to work together to attack me, do you? I was a bit emotional because Dark Spirit Saint is not only the most outstanding sage of the Dark Island, but also my ancestor, Sky Underworld Saint said. Senior Heavenly Underworld Saint, the North Sea domain recognizes Night Sorrow, Grand Elder said. If something happens to Night Sorrow, the realm of unbounded desolation will stand up for him, the Flying Tiger Saint said. I've poked a hornet's nest. Sky Underworld Saint looked at Night Sorrow. He didn't expect Night Sorrow to have such a status in the 9 zones. I've met Senior Dark Spirit Saint and received his legacy. However, I'm not of the dark element or the death element, so I'm not suitable for him. He asked me to find him a successor, and he also hopes that I can go to the Dark Island and pass on his legacy to them, Night Sorrow said. I'm really the successor of the Dark Island. How is my ancestor? Sky Underworld Saint asked excitedly. To be precise, I've seen Senior Dark Spirit Saint twice. He fought against the saint who attacked the 9-domain world back then. Both sides were injured and only a remnant of his soul was left. The second time I saw Senior Dark Spirit Saint, he helped a young man with the death attribute come back to life. His own soul dissipated, but his soul merged with that young man's soul. It can be considered another form of existence in the nine-domain world, Yi Shan said. Where is that young man? Sky Underworld Saint asked. I'll think about it later. How can you prove that you're the successor of the Dark Island? Night Sorrow asked Sky Underworld Saint. How can I prove it? That's right. If you cultivate the Dark Treasured Book, your right arm will have dark heavenly marks. Although I've cultivated an incomplete book, I still have dark heavenly marks. After speaking, Sky Underworld Saint rolled up his right sleeve and showed it to Yi Shang. There was a special energy pattern on his arm. Night Sorrow looked at Long Xiansheng, and Long Xiansheng nodded at Night Sorrow. There are two books in the inheritance. One is the Dark Treasured Book, and the other is the Soul Annihilation / Only one person cultivates the Dark Treasured Book, and that person is the successor I found for Senior Dark Spirit Saint. Two people cultivate the Soul Annihilation / because it was given to me by Senior Dark Spirit Saint. I can't use it too much. Night Sorrow took out the two books and gave them to Sky Underworld Saint. The complete Dark Treasured Book. Thank you for giving the Dark Island a new lease on life. As for the Soul Annihilation / it was given to you by Senior Dark Spirit Saint. Thank you for returning it to me. I won't interfere with who you want to teach it to. After looking at the Dark Treasured Book, Sky Underworld Saint didn't put on airs because of his status and cultivation base. Instead, he bowed to Night Sorrow. Senior, there's no need for that. This is what I promised Senior Dark Spirit Saint. It's my duty to fulfill my promise. Night Sorrow returned the bow. You've done what you should do, so there are some things that I should do. The Eastern Xian region, the Northern Sea region, the Qingtian region, and the others all acknowledge you. I also acknowledge you. If you need anything, just shout. The Western Nether region will do the same, said Sky Underworld Saint. Alright, Sky Underworld Saint, let's go. Let's fight first. We'll talk about it when we get back, said Long Xiansheng. After that, Long Xiansheng and Sky Underworld Saint left. Xiaolanjun followed behind them. The others didn't go because it was useless for them to go. Night Sorrow clasped his fists to Zhenhai Saint, Nanqian Saint, and Flying Tiger Saint. I'm sorry that I didn't bring you seniors to the Tidal Palace last time. But I can still go there. If I'm still alive in 10 years, I'll definitely bring you seniors to the Heaven Sealing Palace. Do you think that we'll be unhappy because of that? We're already so old. Of course, we know what a favor is, Zhenhai Saint said with a smile. But it's good to be able to go to the Heaven Sealing Palace in 10 years, Flying Tiger Saint said with a smile. Indeed. Our Nanli region is a special one. He's already been given a title. Night Sorrow, thank you. If you need anything from the Nanli region, we won't hesitate to do it. Nanqian Saint made a promise. He had trained Liang Yu to be the leader of the Nanli region. He was very satisfied that Liang Yu had been given a title. Night Sorrow, I'm a straightforward person. If you give me a chance in 10 years, the demonic beasts in the unbounded desolation will listen to your orders, said Dragon Saint. G.F. Senior Dragon Saint, you're too serious. I'm from the 9 realms. I'll do whatever I can for the people of the 9 realms. Night Sorrow said. Everyone has their reasons to think highly of you. Not to mention your cultivation talent, your spirit is amazing. Dragon Saint gave Night Sorrow a thumbs up. Chapter 8:17. If Night Sorrow could complete the 9 regions world, he would become the ruler of the 9 regions world. However, that would require the acknowledgement of the 9 regions world's origin. But Night Sorrow's own aura and connections were also very important. Everyone was waiting anxiously for the results of the battle between Long Xiansheng and Heavenly Underworld Saint. Just wait, said Southern Heaven Saint. In truth, everyone was still very nervous. That was because this battle between Long Xiansheng and Heavenly Underworld Saint would determine the direction of the war between the two worlds. As for spectating, there was no way for them to do so. The other side also had many powerful saints. If the 9 regions world saints went over, the war would erupt. 2 days later, Long Xiansheng Heavenly Underworld Saint and Xiaolanjun returned to Eastern Cloud City. The three of them didn't have good expressions because the battle hadn't been decided yet. Soon after, everyone knew what was going on. The other party had a peak saint called Xian Wenxiu, who had a high-grade saint artifact. Long Xianxing could only suppress him, but could not kill him. Heavenly Underworld Saint was on par with the other saint, unless both sides were seriously injured. But we can't kill our way in. How frustrating, said Heavenly Underworld Saint. Why can't we kill our way in? Asked Lin Yuandao. The other side said that if we attack their cultivators below the saint realm, they won't fight with us. Even their high-level saints will enter the 9 regions world, said Heavenly Underworld Saint. Because of this, he and Long Xianxing couldn't kill their way in. Then what do we do? Asked Wu Lingfei. They want to sign a saint contract, said Xie Lanjun. Xie Lanjun then told them what the other side wanted. They wanted to use the world's origin to swear an oath to the heavenly Tao, restricting all the saints of the 2 worlds from participating in the war. If a saint leaves or if the other side intentionally leaves a few saints behind and doesn't sign, won't we be at a disadvantage? Asked Night Sorrow. No, as long as most of the saints use the world's origin to swear, the world's contract will be formed. All the saints have to abide by it, or they'll be killed, said Long Xiansheng. Even if the saints don't participate, we won't be at a disadvantage, said Xie Lanjun. Is everyone going to sign or not? Asked Long Xiansheng. What's going on? The 9 regions world belongs to all of us. We haven't even fought yet, but you're already excluding us, said the Flying Tiger Saint gloomily. Even if it's a contract, we saints have already done what we should. Because we have restrained the other party's saints, the question now is whether or not we should sign the saints' agreement. Long Xianxing said. This is a huge gamble. They don't know the strength of our 9 regions world's venerables, and we don't know their strength either. It's like a blind man against a blind man, said Tianming Saint. Never, 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 never read a novel. Then is there another possibility? Their spies entered our 9-domain world without us noticing and investigated it, said Night Sorrow. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, everyone was stunned because it was highly possible. Grandpa, quickly send someone to tell my father not to break through to the saint realm for now. If the saints don't participate, then the existence of an invincible venerable is very important, said Night Sorrow to Yi Linghuan. All right, Lingxia, go back and inform them. If they can't suppress it, then don't disturb them, said Yi Linghuan. Is this considered cheating my father? Asked Night Sorrow, rubbing his nose. He felt that he had let his father down. No, your father has to control the complete laws first before breaking through. As long as he doesn't interrupt his breakthrough, it's not a big deal. In any case, he can enter the saint realm at any time. It can be considered a consolidation, said Yi Linghuan. Let's return to the previous question. Is it possible that the other party has figured out the strength of our 9 regions world's venerables? Asked Wu Lingfei. It's very possible, but we can't determine that. Long Xianxing nodded because no one dared to say that. As long as their commander isn't an idiot, then they'll definitely investigate the strength of the 9 regions world before starting the war. Right now we might be hiding the Night Moon Dynasty, said Night Sorrow. Sky-slaying Saint, what's the situation with the Night Moon Dynasty's venerables? Asked Xie Lanjun. Yi Linghuan's title was Sky-slaying Saint. If my son doesn't break through, then there are 2 invincible venerables, for peak venerables and 5 or 6 advanced venerables. There's no count below that, said Yi Linghuan. That's very strong, said Long Xiansheng. That was equivalent to the strength of the venerables of the other regions. As long as the peak venerables of the Night Moon Dynasty have enough space energy resources, it is possible for them to become invincible venerables. If we sign the saint contract, we will use the power of the 9 domains to push the 4 peak venerables of the Night Moon Dynasty into the ranks of invincible venerables, Lin Yuandao said. It seems that the saints can sign the contract. Long Xianxing looked at the group of saints and said, I think so. The Night Moon Dynasty is strong enough. Yi Tian was ferocious back then, and his descendants are also powerful, said Sky Underworld Saint. Then the saints agreed to sign the saint contract. If they didn't, then the war wouldn't be easy to fight. If they couldn't take down the other side's 2 peak saints, then they wouldn't have a chance at victory. If they wanted a complete victory, They had to restrict the saints of both sides. Signing the saint contract is also a chance for the Profound Mysteries realm to win. If they can't defeat Long Xiansheng and Sky Underworld Saint, they won't be able to break in, said Xiaolanjun. Now the juniors will be under pressure. But there's nothing we can do about it. That bastard's high-grade Saint Treasure Heart is disgusting. It's too difficult to kill him, said Long Xiansheng. For hours later, Yi Lingxie returned to Eastern Cloud City. Brother Wang, I came back just in time. Wu Yu has already finished comprehending the laws, and was preparing to break through his true qi. He's stopped now, said Evil King Ling. That's good. That's like having an invincible saint, said Sky Underworld Saint. I'll have to trouble Prince Wu Yu to wait a bit before entering the saint realm, said Xiaolanjun. That was a sacrifice. She had to suppress her own accomplishments for the sake of the 9 regions world. After some more discussion, they decided to sign the saint contract, leaving the war to those below the saint realm. Night Sorrow felt that it was too early to sign the saint contract because the 9 regions world saints weren't ready yet. However, Sky Underworld Saint was a bit anxious because the Profound Mysteries realm saints were still on the move. The Western Nether realm was still suffering from the flames of war. Night Sorrow sighed and didn't say anything else. After the saints signed the saint contract, Night Sorrow didn't have anything to do. He just waited in Eastern Cloud City, thinking about how the war would go. At night, the saints all returned and the saint contract was signed. Just as everyone was discussing the deployment, news came that the Profound Mysteries Realm's army had already started fighting in the Western Nether realm. You're tuning into the Echoes of the Heart YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.